Feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo. X Squared with Brooks Agnew. Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas. Jeranism RAW with Jeran and Missa. Fearless with Frank Castle. Strange World with Mark Sargent. The Eye of Ra with Ra Castaldo. The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray. Ironworks with Josh Corey. The Kev Baker Show. And dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR-LIVE. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Widening probe, the Santa Fe shooting. I'm Ann Cates. The Justice Department will expand an investigation to determine whether a spy was planted in the Trump campaign. Correspondent Jeff Zeleny reports the president demanded the move.
It's far more of a political fight than a legal one, trying to discredit the Russia probe by suggesting the FBI infiltrated or surveilled his campaign. The president, at odds with the U.S. intelligence community over Russia interference in the 2016 election, making a rare visit to CIA headquarters today, where Gina Haspel was sworn in as the new director.
Classes resume next week for the Santa Fe School District near Houston following the massacre of 10 people. Assistant Superintendent Patty Hansard.
While we are anxious to have our students back in our schools, we realize that there are students, staff, and families who need time for grieving and mourning. Therefore, the schedule for Santa Fe ISD for the remainder of the year is as follows. All teachers and support staff will return on Wednesday, May 23rd. All students will return to school on Tuesday, May 29th at their regularly scheduled start times.
Residents of Hawaii's Big Island continue to grapple with dangers.
As we still try to wrap our heads around LAYS, the lava haze with hydrochloric acid and glass shards in it, caused by hot lava hitting the ocean, Janet Babb with the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory says methane explosions are happening. As lava enters vegetated areas and that vegetation dies, it creates methane that travels under the earth and can collect in pockets. As it builds up, the heat from the lava can cause it to explode.
These are quite a big hazard.
And these can happen well away from lava flows. If it's not one thing, it's another. I'm Jim Roop.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 298 points, the S&P up 20. I'm Ann Cates.
You are now tuned into the Truth Frequency.
We are TFR. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show, and we're in a snow globe, and we just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. You're tuned into your protection from deception right here at truthfrequencyradio.com and plus you're tuned in to the #1 show on TFR on Monday nights between the hours of 6 and 9 Pacific. That's 9 to midnight Eastern. And that show is Jeranism Monday Night Raw, and it begins now. I'm your host, Jeran from Jeranism, and not with me this evening is Missa. She should be around for a little bit later in the broadcast, but for now, you're stuck with me. You can boo, get all your anger out right now, throw tomatoes, do whatever it is that you need to do, but it's going to be me. So There's nothing I can do about it. You're just going to have to deal with it. So I hope that everybody is okay. All right, calm down. I said calm down. Said get it out earlier, and you had to get it out later, I guess. So what we're going to do tonight is take some phone calls, number one, but that's going to be probably the second half of the show. So I want to open it up to anyone who wants to conversate in any such way or about any such things. Go ahead and dial the number. But again, that's going to be the second half of the show. If you get in now, I might be able to pop over and pick up a call, but I'm not going to promise anything. And the phone number, if you want to call in, is 213-233-3998. Again, if you want to get right in line with other callers, the best time to dial in would be not now. That would be later in the show. We have a 3-hour broadcast tonight. First, let me say hello to everyone in the chat. Hello to everyone at home or in their vehicles or possibly their motorboats, whatever it is. Some people might be on a scooter. I don't know. Wherever you might be at this time, hello. Thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it. And also wanted to say hello to everyone who's down under in Australia and New Zealand, possibly South America. All those people upside down, hello to you, and to those people perpendicular in Mozambique and Hawaii. All good thoughts and prayers and all that good stuff to everyone in Hawaii. Uncle Sheba, if you're out there listening, I would appreciate a call in from you just to tell us you're okay. I'm not remembering exactly what island you're on, but would love to know your opinion on what's going on over there in Hawaii with the eruption of the volcano. So if you're out there thinking about you, hope you're well. Hope everybody you know is well. But call in. Let us know. I will, if I see you show up on the call board, I will pop over and take that call if I think about it or if I see it. What I wanted to do to start out is I heard a Joe Rogan podcast little clip today from him in a conversation with Theo Von. Not sure if you know who he is. He's basically a comedian. That's the only place I've ever seen him. I think he does a podcast as well. But he's a comedian for the most part. And more interesting than his conversation is basically we're going to be listening to Joe Rogan. Many people have their own opinions about him. If you don't remember or don't know, he started out as a heavy moon skeptic, then had a interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson in which he kind of put the fire to him and asked him some questions about the moon landings. And for some strange reason, that was the last that he ever pushed that narrative. After that, he kind of shied away. A lot of people said, well, I wonder if he was spoken to, which ended up being kind of true. What was spoken to him is about he's not as smart as these people who have put years of effort and study, painstaking observations of the skies. He's not at a place where he's allowed to comment on the beautiful science being done in these observatories and in colleges and universities all over the world. And after that, he kind of stopped talking about it. He did most recently bring up some things again, saying he still has some doubts. I think the most recent thing I heard him say was that they clearly faked some of it, but that doesn't mean they didn't go. So he's not ready to take that next step, which many people listening to this show have. If you have not, that's the kind of person I would love to talk to. If you think that we went to the moon, there's lots of questions I have for you regarding the reason why space travel is the only regressive technology that's ever taken place basically on Earth. Why is it that 50 years ago we were able to fly men 250,000 miles to and around the moon, but since then the furthest we've gotten is 250 miles, and it could be, as Don Pettit says, because we've lost that technology and it's too expensive to get it back. And if you're willing to believe those things, then this is not the show for you. Clearly this is more intended for people who can see deception, can review evidence, can use their observations of the world around them, and then make informed decisions about the world. So what we're going to listen to here first is basically Joe Rogan. I'm going to be stopping it quite often to comment because I can't grasp people who have this mentality. He's going to start off and he's going to talk about the idea of infinity. And he believes this, and so do most of the world. I want to really people to understand or listen to what is going on, what is being said here. Let's go ahead and start it off. Here is Joe Rogan starting out his little podcast with Theo Von. And again, he's talking about infinity.
Boom. And there can be only one Theo Von.
Well, far as I know.
In the universe, though, do you know what they think?
What?
Do you know the concept of infinity, apparently, as explained to me by people far smarter than us, is that the universe is so big that not only is there intelligent life out there for sure, but there's humans out there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And infinity is so big that means somewhere in the universe there is another Theo Von that has done exactly the same things that you've done, said exactly the same things that you've said, been in the same conversations that you've been in, down to that pause, down to the millisecond, an infinite number of times.
And you believe it?
Yes.
Wow. Unfreaking believable. So what people don't get is why scientists have these beliefs. Why do they believe in these infinities? And the reason why is because, ladies and gentlemen, look around you. You exist in a universe where there's laws of physics, where there's order, where there's nature that is actually takes place in a systematic way. That cannot just come from nothing. You can't have exploding star bits and exploding from nothing origins of the universe. You cannot have the Big Bang, and from that have the order and construction that we have in this universe. So they have to believe in the idea of infinities, and we just happen to live in one of the universes where this is the way it turned out. So there's many millions of quadrillions of quadrillions and quintsextillions, you name the number, a Googleplex or whatever they say. There's this many other universes, and there's others, you listening to me talking right now, there's other universes where everything has gone the same up to this moment, but then everything going forward is, what a load of crap for anybody to buy into that idea simply because, as Joe put it, people smarter than you say so. Yes, just because people who you think are smarter than you say anything doesn't make it true. Doesn't make it true. If you're the only person on earth saying something, that doesn't make it false. Just like if everyone on earth is saying something, it doesn't make it true. Why have we gotten so stuck in this idea that because Brian Cox says something like infinity exists and there's an infinity universes, and if we put an infinity amount of monkeys in a room with infinity walls, I guess, with infinity typewriters, that they would type out the Bible or whatever you want to say? It's nonsense. And this is what we've allowed to take over people's minds to the point where, listen to Joe in this. This is unbelievable. Let's continue.
Not just one time, but an unending number of times, because that's how big infinity is.
And Theo Vaughn's kind of funny. At times he struggles. I don't think he's I don't know. He's okay. He has some funny jokes. He's very quick. But you'll hear him. He doesn't always agree with Joe and is kind of a little lost on what they're talking about. But we'll continue here. He said, there's all these infinities.
You're not buying it?
I'll bet infinity's smaller than that. If I had to bet, yeah, I just don't think that could. For me, that couldn't. For me, if I knew that was true, that would just break my heart. I feel like, because then you would feel like everything you're doing feels pointless.
But isn't it anyway?
Interesting point. I mean, if you have that kind of mentality, this is the problem. This is what the mentality that a Brian Cox brings, that a Neil deGrasse, when they tell you that you're insignificant, that makes them significant and makes you become a person like Joe Rogan, who says, well, isn't everything we do insignificant anyway? Doesn't it all mean nothing in the end anyway? Well, even if that were the case, even if, and none of us know, anybody who claims anything different is probably full of it. You can say what you believe. I'll tell you what I believe. I'll tell you what I think. But as far as somebody saying they know blankety blank, that's probably not true. But even if it is the case that there is nothing, we all die and that's it. Good night. You lived, you died, there's nothing. It's still better to live with the idea that it does make a difference. That it's not just, well, I'm going to die tomorrow anyway, so what's the big deal? What's different? What difference does it make? It doesn't matter. I'm going to die eventually. I mean, then you get in, then does Joe Rogan wash his car? Does he take showers? Because why? What difference does it make? Going to get dirty tomorrow. My car's going to get rained on. I mean, why vacuum the carpet? It's just going to get dirty. I mean, is this the mentality that we should be living with?
Just what you know about the universe. Let's just say the universe was limited to the size of this galaxy.
Okay, let's say that the universe was limited to the size of this galaxy. Okay, first of all, do you know the size of the galaxy? Or again, are you listening to men tell you the size that they say the galaxy is?
Okay.
Right?
Which it really could be.
Could be. I mean, you and I, let's be honest, we're kind of dumb.
Right.
Right? We're fairly
Oh,
dumb.
yeah, I'm just guessing.
Guessing. Total guess. I mean,
So are they.
I'll say some big words every now and then, but the reality is I learn those big words from people that actually understand them, and I'm just repeating the noises that they say. Right?
Yeah,
okay. So, oh, Broken thinks you're so fucking smart. And I'm the last person that thinks I'm smart. Trust me.
Yeah, we're all mimics, really.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at, they think there are hundreds of billions of stars in this galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Just that alone is too big. It's too big. It's too big for you to wrap your head around. It's too big.
Right.
There's no, like, when you think about like how big that is, like there's no way you really think about it. You just kind of like go, oh, yeah, big.
Yeah.
Now think of infinite. So hundreds of billions of those. And then they think it's possible that inside each galaxy, they know that the center of each galaxy has a supermassive black hole in it. And they think that inside that supermassive black hole might be a whole nother universe filled with galaxies, each of them that have supermassive black holes in the center. You go through one of those, another universe. Infinite universes. So infinite infinities. So the universe is infinite, and there's infinite numbers of universes. So somewhere out there's another Theo Vaughn. Same haircut, same jokes, same style.
Really?
Yep.
Same back problem?
Killing it.
Dude, that's scary. I feel like if that's true, that makes the jog I took this morning seem so much shorter. If the universe is that much bigger, I don't think it could be that big.
Look at this. What did you show me here, Jamie?
What is that?
What simulation on the inside of a black hole?
That's iMovie, bro. That could be anything.
Well, this is just animation.
He's showing some animation
go
crap.
Through the black hole, and you wake up again, a baby in Louisiana.
Oh, man, come on, man.
Your mama's cuddling you. Oh, you're such a sweet thing. You know, birds are chirping, but they're chirping 200 trillion light years away.
Wow.
Yeah.
You believe it?
You believe it?
Believe is a weird word.
Do you feel it?
It's too big. I don't even feel the sun. I go outside and I go, oh yeah, it's warm. But I don't feel that there's a thing that's 1,000,000 times bigger than Earth.
Who does? And this is something that is important to your recognizing where you live, what's around you, is that simply taking the words of men and putting them in your pocket is not a good idea. Taking words of men and saying, I'm going to believe that. Every human being in the history of Earth, none of them have felt that the sun is 93 million miles away. None of them have looked at it and said, yeah, say it's 1.3 million times the size of Earth. Go get in a plane and fly from California to New York, which will take you about 6 or 7 hours. Think about how much distance you traveled there, and you barely were anywhere on the cross. What is that? 2,500 miles. So you still have that's 10 times, 1/10 of the size of the equator, as they say, and that the sun is 1.3 million times the size of that. Now, tell me this. If we were going to accept these things as true, then there should be evidence that is in plentitude. It shouldn't just be something that has to be. Okay, this is what I think people need to recognize, is that the sun has to be 1.3 million times the size of Earth for their system to work mathematically. And just because something works mathematically does not make it reality. Told that many times, that I could say I have 2 million in my bank account, and then Joe Rogan gave me 2 million more, so now I've got 4 million in my bank account. Mathematically, that was a perfect statement. Worked out on paper, given to mathematicians, worked every different direction. It's perfect. It equals. It's beautiful. It's not reality. Again, I can go back to my fictitious theme park. Say I have a theme park in Jeran land, and I can give you the mathematical layout, the map. I can tell you the speed of every roller coaster, its dimensions, its angles, its propel. Every little detail mathematically can be perfect. how many people are on the rides, how many people go to my snack shop or my snack center every day, what we make, who works there. All these things can be nothing more than a story. And just because mathematically it works, you can here's my numbers. You want to check my costs on my hot dogs and check the numbers here up. Worked out perfect. So Jeran's snack shop at Jeranland must be real. No, sorry. The numbers on the paper are real. They add up. They equal. But that does not make my fictitious Disneyland real. The only thing that would make it real is for you to go there and to observe it, to see it, to measure it. Then you could say it's legit and real, and there would be video evidence, and there would be photo evidence, and there would be all this evidence that we don't have when it comes to saying that the sun that's in the sky is 1.3 million times the size of the Earth, is 93 million miles in distance away, and that we go around it on a 584 million mile trek as it travels with us 480,000 miles per hour around the Milky Way galaxy. While all of us together with the Milky Way go around the great attractor at 2.2 million miles per hour. Those things are mathematical constructs that must be. They must be for the whole system to work. Doesn't make them reality at all.
It's floating in the sky.
No.
I don't feel that.
To me, the hard part for me is when they say that the universe keeps expanding,
Yeah.
It sounds like something a child would say. That part sounds fiction to me. Like it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. You're like, what? It sounds like something like my 4-year-old nephew would say if he won't go to sleep at night,
Well, the real one is the birth of the universe. That's the real one.
So how does he not catch himself? How can he think that Eddie Bravo is crazy with the things he's about to say? I can't grasp it.
The Big Bang. So before the Big Bang, the universe was smaller than the head of a pin. The whole thing.
It makes a lot of sense. So before the Big Bang, the universe, which contains all matter everywhere of all time, is the size of a pin. So where did the matter come from? What are you talking about?
Thing.
Right.
And then for some reason, boom. They don't know why, but in one instant, the universe is created.
I mean, it seems far-fetched.
Yeah, it sure as hell does.
That's what the scientists believe. Forget about what
difference does it make if the scientists believe that? They have to believe that. Just like scientists have to believe, just because the scientists all believe that the sun is 1.3 million times the size of Earth, all we need to look at it and say is, well, does it have to be for everything else to be correct? Yes, it does. Well, then no shit. Then obviously they all believe that. What else would they believe? If they believe anything else, then their entire scientific enterprise isn't right. So these things are not just because all scientists believe something doesn't make it true. It means that they have to believe it for everything else that they espout to be true.
Religious people believe, or cult leaders believe, or schizophrenics.
Yeah.
The legit of legit. The Sean Carrolls of the world, the Neil deGrasse Tysons of the world, the real scientists.
Yeah.
Real scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who went to school and memorized a book and put those answers on paper during tests and became an astrophysicist, and goes in front of groups and talks about what he studied and what he memorized from those books. Has he been to space? Has he touched space? Has he measured the distances to the planets with a ruler? He is not the legit of the legit. Congratulations for going to school and becoming proficient in the text that's in the book. But to then say, well, I've got to give all my faculties over to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I got to get everything what I feel and experience in this world is not important because Neil read a book.
Yeah.
That can hit you with the real words and they actually understand them.
The smartest people.
The real smart people. They actually think that.
Who cares?
What do you think?
I think the jury's out. That's what I think, man. I think I'm still kind of feeling it out. I think I could easily get sucked in if I'm not careful to just believe in I just wonder if some of their stuff is right, you know? Like, what if the building blocks that we started with aren't really correct?
Beautiful, Theo.
You know? And sometimes I feel like some of the science, for me, it takes too much of the hope out of it. Like, I guess I want to romanticize the universe a little bit, and I want it to be a little more fantastical. Like, maybe we get out there, you know, in the sequel to that video, and there's a couple, you know, angels out there or a band or something, or like.
Now, this is where you kind of go, what is this guy talking about? I don't know why he said that or what the hell has to do with anything. He wants to get out into the universe, and maybe there's some angels out there or a band. Angels or a band.
Like you know, some
angels,
or like you know, some sort of something more exciting than just.
Is that exciting, or is that just more human? Like angels in a band,
right?
That's like human. That would actually be boring.
Yeah, maybe it's just maybe I'm afraid to go into that other world, you know, into that other realm. Like, if somebody was like, go in there, and they were trying to push me in there, I would say, I'm not going in there.
Have you ever been in a place where you're in you're outside at night, there's no clouds and there's no light pollution, and you can see the Milky Way?
Yeah, there was Tucson.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling.
It is a weird feeling, and if you haven't done it, I encourage you to go do it as soon as possible. It is unbelievable. The stars are right there. If you believe that stars are 25 trillion miles away at the minimum, how can you believe that? Just because men say so. I mean, it's getting to the point now where there really is no other explanation. There's no reason to believe that the stars are 25 trillion miles away. Your two answers have to be either they have to be, or because men say so. That's it. There is no other reason. And if people feel comfortable in accepting and believing things for the reasons that they have to be, for everything else that science says to exist, or because men say so, then we got problems. Again, it goes back to the whole idea of your senses. And whether you believe in God or you don't, or whether you believe in Jehovah or you don't, somebody, something, some mind, some entity gave you your senses. Your senses get you by and keep you alive every single hour of every day. They tell you everything that you need to know to navigate life. They tell you when something's too hot, when not to touch something because you're going to get burned, when not to you blink because something squirts in your eye and your eyes close just in time to protect themselves from that splash. Maybe it's I don't know, carburetor cleaner, whatever. That there's so often our senses are lifesavers. They tell you when to cross a street, when something is danger, when there's just an unending amount of times and situations and certain circumstances when your senses keep you alive. And then we are giving them away. And when do we give away our senses? And people need to recognize this, that men will steal from you. Men will take whatever they want from you if they can get it. And so when is the best time to steal from you? It's when you can't go double check up on what they're saying. So what do they sell you? They sell you space. Go try and prove me wrong. Space, the stars are 25 trillion miles away. Prove me wrong. What else do they sell you? History. Oh, well, the Middle Ages, nothing was discovered, nothing was invented. Prove me wrong. Napoleon lived in year blankety blank. Prove me wrong. So they sell you on things like history. You go to a museum, you look around and look at dinosaur bones, and you look at the ancient habitats of the Eskimos or whatever. But it's just history that they can tell you whatever. Doesn't have to be any truth in it. How would you know? So they sell you on history. They sell you on space. They sell you in the movies. They sell you in music. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with more Jeranism Monday night.
Well, it comes with cost, a price too large, as if we're really just born to die. I'd rather let a bit more. Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being on TV looks pretty.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
About 6 months ago, my wife bought Extendivite. She didn't tell me she was giving it to me. So after about 3 days, I said, maybe the weather's changed or something. I said, my legs feel really good. And she goes, well, I've been giving you this stuff, and it was the Extendivite. And you know that I'm about 75% better. I can actually climb stairs now, and I can get up out of chairs. I can even get down and, I have to work under a table or a computer table and work on a computer. I can actually get back up off the floor. You know what? It's an amazing product. I can't believe, I didn't think anything short of having surgery was going to help.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hi, this is Suzanne of Suzanne'sNaturalHealthRx.com. I'm a certified functional medicine health professional and hold a doctorate in naturopathic medicine. If you're suffering from any sort of chronic health condition that you and your doctors just can't seem to get to the bottom of, or if you want to lose weight, or just plain want to feel and look better, then go to my website, Suzanne'sNaturalHealthRx.com, and schedule a consult. Together, we will go through your medical history, diet and lifestyle, environmental factors, lifestyle stressors, sleep patterns, hormones, and much, much more to try to get you to where you want to be. Oh, and be sure to send me a message using the Contact Me button. Let me know you heard about me here on Truth Frequency Radio for 10% off. Where man's food and medicine have failed us, let's give nature a try after all. Her medicine has been around for, well, since the beginning of time. Not a bad track record, wouldn't you say?
Hi everyone, this is Sean from the Awakening Liberty Show. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Have you ever thought about investing in food and water storage? Well, if you have, I urge you to check out my one-stop prepper shop. AwakeningLibertyStore.com carries the full line of legacy premium non-GMO made in USA emergency food storage and survival gear. Folks, I've tried them all, and Legacy Premium is the best I've found. Boasting the lowest cost per pound, the lowest cost per calorie, and the largest serving size in the industry, Legacy Premium is simply the best. Not to mention, all of our entrees were developed by chefs and voted best tasting in blind taste tests, and I personally concur. Also, be sure to check out our new Ilios Solar Power Backup Generator Systems by Bannock. It is an incredibly expandable, lightweight, and modular solution for power outages, long-term emergencies, and outdoor activities. Shop AwakeningLibertyStore.com and use coupon code PATRIOT for a special listener discount, or you can call me personally at 775-276-4046. Once again, AwakeningLibertyStore.com.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. You are listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Before the break, I was talking about Joe's last little statement there, and I do see a call. I'll be with you 1 second. Joe was talking about going outside, finding a place where there's no light pollution on a beautiful night and looking up at the stars. I encourage you to do that. I got a chance to do that about, it's probably 4 or 5 months ago at this point. And I mean, you have to go to where there is no light pollution. And when you look up and you see the canopy, if you want to call it that, the firmament, whatever you want to call it, it's literally right there. And I agree with what his next statement is. Let's hear what he's got to say about
Ever been in a
that.
place where you're in you're outside at night, there's no clouds and there's no light pollution, and you can see the Milky Way?
Yeah, there was Tucson.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling.
Yes.
You see all those stars and you're like, is this up here all the time?
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like, is this out here all the time, and what have I been doing?
Yeah. I think we're fucking ourselves up with cities. I've been saying that forever. I think all that light from cities blocking out all those stars, I think it confuses us.
Yeah.
We don't realize what we're in. That we are in this crazy space ride.
Oh, I think people forget about that a lot of times. I mean, we definitely get caught up in the minutia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but what's out there in the world, in the universe? I mean, I think if something were out there, it would have stopped by now.
I don't know about that.
It's been a lot of time.
It's a lot of space. A lot of space it has to go through. I think that things get so smart that they don't do that anymore. This is what I think. I think that this whole idea about space travel, I don't think they do that after a while. I think they get so fucking smart, they become symbiotic with machines.
Here we go. Here we go. It's the Elon Musk land where robots will take over. Have you heard Elon Musk's latest? I mean, the guy is out of his mind. Who says that, well, we had Pong in 1970, and look at the video games we have today. So in 20 years, the video games are going to be indecipherable from reality. That's what he thinks is going to happen. It's just nonsense. And then he believes that a evil AI will come and will decide to wipe. Because that would be real smart for us to give these AI robots the ability to call on some nuclear strike or something, or I don't know what. It's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. It's people who can't recognize what's around them and realize you can unplug the robot. There you go. Run on that, robot. Oh, he's trying to kill people? Unplug him. Yep. What a threat. Look at the big robot threat. Came by and was going to destroy us all, and we unplugged it. Because we create the robots. Are robots better at things than us? Absolutely. Because we made them. That's why. And if the world was anywhere near going in the right direction, the robots would already be doing all the jobs that humans don't need to do and be freeing up people's times to enjoy life, to live off of the brilliance of those before us, those now, helping each other, helping the person to your left, to your right. Not the way it's going now, which is they cannot let go of jobs. The goal of why is the goal of the president, did he increase the jobs? How many more jobs do we have? Do we have new jobs? How about it should be the other way? Find me a president that's going to get rid of jobs. That's what I want to see. We don't need people, middlemen everywhere. We don't need middlemen to take care of every little bit of business that needs to be done, which is what happens now. All these little middlemen and all these little categories all the way up the ladder, rather than things getting done more efficiently, quicker, easier, better, cheaper. No, it's not the way the United States works for sure. Let's go to the phones, though, before I get too far away. Oh, it's actually a different caller, I think. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
Hey, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Okay, I'm on. Okay. I called a few weeks ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. I think I misspoke. I was trying to get through my whole thing pretty fast there. I do not believe in gravity. For all those out there, I do not believe in gravity. I was making an argument against gravity. I was refuting gravity, and I was kind of playing devil's advocate, I'm the guy who called. I called your show and a couple other shows. I spoke about something spinning, whether it be a ball, a tire, a bullet, whatever, and you start displacing massive amounts of weight on that, it's going to make a wobble. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Even when you get your tire balanced, you remember me talking about that. So
yep.
I think this is something that's just being so ignored, and people are missing the point. I had like 6 people jump on me and say, "Oh, he believes in gravity." And what I was saying was, if you...
Yeah, explain it again.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, explain it again, because I don't think you did a good job of explaining it last time, but go ahead this time.
Okay. So the guy who balances your tires, the little weight that he puts on your tire to make it balanced, so it doesn't wobble and you don't feel that big wobble when you go down the road. We have the earth, we have tsunamis, we have earthquakes, we have all kinds of weight being displaced on this so-called ball, and weight is displaced, if gravity were true, which it's not, then the weight which is displaced already on that ball has overcome gravity. Correct? Because it has moved and shifted on a ball, on a sphere, a so-called sphere.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me playing devil's advocate? Because the difference between your tire, when you're trying to balance that, and then the Earth, you're not going to move enough. You're not going to move enough dirt or displace enough matter or mass.
Well, that's what people think. But if you think about the oceans, if the oceans are supposedly 70 to 80% of the Earth,
right,
and they move back and forth every day.
Well, hold on a second. They're 70 to 80%. They're 70 to 80% of the surface.
Okay. How do we know that? How do we know how deep it goes?
Oh, I don't know. That's why I said, do you want me to play devil's advocate?
And we know water. We know water has ways of travel. We know the turtles travel in the water, just like there's jet streams in the air. There's ways of the water. There's paths of the water that move.
Right. Currents.
So these things are moving. All the time, on top, underneath, and we don't know how deep. We haven't been to the bottom. So we can't say. So what I'm telling you is if we go by the math we're given of the Earth, and we start looking at this stuff being shifted around, we look at the dam in China. It was spoken about years ago. Some scientists said this might throw the Earth off its tilt and it might wobble. Just the dam in China. Now, these are scientists on your television who are renowned scientists. So I'm not speaking out of my gourd here, am I? So if you have the little weight that's on your tire, if you look at how little and a weight that is compared to your tire, and it balances the whole tire, imagine how much weight moves on this Earth. A lot more that I think moves on this Earth than just a little weight on that tire compared to the tire.
Well, I mean, that would be if I'm playing devil's advocate, you're talking about the surface of the Earth is 70% water, and they say it only goes 7 or 8 miles deep. Let's say that the most. So you're talking.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. I mean, I don't think that there's parts of the ocean much deeper. Me personally, maybe let's say 10 miles. Give it a few more. Huh?
We haven't been to the bottom, so we don't know. So.
Very true. No, absolutely. I'm absolutely
okay.
Basing it completely off of conjecture that I would think, 10 miles. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't think the Earth's a ball. So, I mean, I'm completely arguing from a position.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what something that like David Weiss and I do a lot is if he has an idea or we play sphere believer, because what it does. Right. So what I'm saying is just, then you would say that 10-mile ocean distance, and they're saying that the radius of the Earth is 4,000 miles. So you're talking about the little 10 miles is the water, and then everything else from the ocean floor to the center of the Earth would be sometimes I don't know what they say, liquid magma or liquid iron. I don't know what they say, but you're saying that when we spin, that this displacement of whatever it is that we're displacing, I just think that you can disprove it before you even get to the surface with the fact that there's some sort of liquid magma on the inside. If it was spinning, then you'd be displacing a whole bunch of mass at different times. I'm not sure that the outer
well,
shell.
If gravity, no, because you have to take into account if gravity is on this sphere ball, which is, I do not believe in gravity, guys, but I'm playing devil's advocate. If gravity is on this sphere ball, then it's pulling all objects toward the center, correct? So what I'm saying, as soon as that weight is shifted and displaced on this Earth, it has overcome gravity, such as a tsunami. I mean, we can't deny that, can we? A tsunami has overcome gravity.
Correct.
Yeah.
Temporarily.
So when that happens, and not only just water, but think about everything that moves on this Earth. Think about the ants that move the dirt, the earthworms that move the dirt. Think about the bulldozers. Think about the dams. Think about the waters being diverted. You think about all these things being moved, and it's a heck of a lot more than 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, or even 50% being shifted around on the surface. Now, if we look at it as it's flat, that's a lot of weight. This thing's sturdy. It's on
Yeah,
foundation.
I would agree with you. Yeah, and the breaking of.
That's what I was saying.
No, and I would agree with you. Yeah, if you're overcoming gravity, I mean, everything is over. If I lift something up, a glass off the table to drink, my phone, whatever you're lifting off the ground it's overcoming gravity. But I agree. If it's flat, if it's a, if it's a solid base, then that makes all the sense in the world. That's all I need for gravity. I wouldn't say gravity doesn't exist myself. If you're talking about gravity being what you want to call the fact that things that have mass or weight and cannot be supported by whatever medium they're in falling down, if you want to call that gravity, fantastic. But what happens is then you get into this idea that we are going around the sun due to gravity and that the moon is falling around the earth due to gravity. Then I'm like, no, I'm not agreeing to that. There's nothing that tells me that the moon is falling around the earth. There's nothing that tells me I'm falling around the sun. But there is things that tell me. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, when someone says that something's falling, you automatically know it's falling. You don't need gravity to pull it down. It's falling. So,
correct. It can't be. And then people say, well, what gives it that preferential direction? What makes down? Why does it fall down? It's like, well, it doesn't matter which direction it fell. That would be our down. So you can say that all you want. It's not a good argument because whatever direction things went, because they can't be supported by whatever's holding them, we would call down. And when you put a boat in the ocean,
if they say down,
go ahead.
And when we say down, and they say, well, up, then you say, oh, there's an up. There's not an out. It's just up and down.
Yeah,
really.
It's crazy. It just seems like to me we don't need all the complications. They need the complications because otherwise, how is the Earth a ball? The Earth is not a ball unless gravity pulls things to the center. So you can't have space travel. Yeah, you can't have space travel without gravity doing what they say gravity does, and that was all because Newton had his little thought experiment. But you can already disprove that. I mean, I don't know about you. When I grew up, there was this idea that out in space you float. That's what they taught us. That in space you float. Well, that's changed. That's changed since then. Now it's the people on the ISS are floating because they're falling around the Earth. But then the next question needs to be, well, then when these astronauts went to the moon, why were they floating? They were floating in their little capsule as they went to the moon. Well, what are they? So they're floating because they're falling around the moon on the way to the moon for 240.
I got one. I got one for you. If it's falling to the Earth, how are they floating inside?
Yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, it's all just a story that, again, they sell you on things that you can't check. You can't go check if somebody would float on the way to the moon, and so they can tell you whatever they want. Yes, you can. No, they can't. Yeah. I can shield you with this much water. I can shield it with gold tinfoil. Whatever they need to tell you to keep the story going, because you can't debate it. It's the whole problem with people saying, well, why haven't you disproven space yet? Why haven't you disproven if it's so easy? It's like I have, but at that point I'm stuck. I can't go to space and measure Saturn. That's the only way to disprove the heliocentric model, because they've already drawn.
They all want to go. Everyone wants to go out to space. Everyone wants to go to outer space when we're in space, aren't we? Isn't that what we're in? Isn't that what they believe? We're in space on the most peculiar piece of Earth, land, whatever you want to call it, what we're made of, and you want to go out from that? You want to go somewhere else?
Makes no sense. I've equated it before to saying go ahead.
I got one more thing that I wanted to bring up, and I wanted to ask you a question, just a personal question. You don't have to answer, but I think another thing. Oh, okay. I think another thing that's really being not observed that is observable, and I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but if you do your research, what I'm saying is fact. People from the most northern hemisphere have blue eyes. People from the Mediterranean have green, and people in the southern hemisphere, whatever you want to call it, they have brown eyes. I think people need to do their research on this. It might be due to environment, what they're seeing, because above us is blue, the sky is blue. In between the ground and the sky is green. It's trees and bushes and plants, and the ground is brown. The ground is brown, and I think that's being highly overlooked. I think that our pupils, when they dilate, I think that there's an electromagnetic thing going on. It's shrinking. It's getting stronger and weakening at the North Pole around this mountain that looks like our pupil. And I think we need to look at that. But the question I was going to ask you is, the question I was going to ask you is if any leader in this world or earth, whatever, were to say you have to get, and I'm not saying you have to be Christian or anything, I'm just saying you have to get a chip or something in your hands, in your right hand or in your forehead, would you do it? I know a lot of people who are not Christian, they say no way.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you mean. If you're talking about somebody has a gun to my head and says, this is a new mandate, you're putting this chip in your hand or you're not, I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, obviously, if it's optional, absolutely not. If I can stay away from it in any way or pretend I did it, and whatever I can do to not do it, then no, I think it would be, if you're talking about I'm going to take a bullet to the head before I put something in my hand, no, probably not. I mean, I'm probably going to want to live and not just take a bullet to the head. I've got family. I've got a child. I don't think it'd be a smart decision on my part to say, yeah, just shoot me. I don't want to put that little thing in my hand.
Right.
Now, I think we need to stop it before it gets to that point. Obviously, government has taken way too big of a role already, let alone if they're going around and mandating now that you have to put things in your skin. And that's their goal. I mean, that's what they're trying.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and when I look on my dollar bill, it says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. I consider private. I don't know about you.
Yeah, be careful with the cryptocurrencies. I definitely think there is a goal in place.
Yeah, there's something going on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because right now, cash, people say like, oh, well, cryptocurrencies, they are anonymous. And it's like, no, cash is anonymous. You can go pay your neighbor cash and nobody will ever know that transaction took place. The blockchain, which is a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant mathematical idea to keep track of every transaction, but that's not anonymous because all somebody needs to do is link you back to that address and they'll tell you everything you've ever done. And what better way to make people poor and to regulate their purchases? And we already know that they print money on demand. So instead of printing money on demand, now you just got to type in numbers on a computer, which is basically what they already do. So it's just a more controlled atmosphere for them to exist in.
It sounds perfect. I mean, I said long ago, they would know where every terrorist is. They would know where every person is at all times. They would know if you're sick or not. They wouldn't let you get on a plane. They would know what's on your body. They would know everything about you. And that's just, I don't know. All right, man, I appreciate your time. I know you got to go.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate the call. All right, so appreciate the call. There is some lines open. If you are interested, we'll continue on with the Joe Rogan interview or podcast. I know that there was, and I can't find, what was it? There was an anagram for Satoshi Nakamoto, which was interesting. I don't think this one says, Ma, I took NSA's oath. But I thought there was something else. Maybe I don't remember what it was. But maybe somebody has that at the tip of their tongue. They can call in if they would like. I don't remember exactly what the anagram was. I'm trying to look here online to see if I can find it real quick, but I don't see it. Maybe it was that. Something I took NSA. This one says NSA is ook at math. No, I don't think that was it. I am NSA, took oaths. Oh, now that maybe it was the one I had heard. I don't know if does that contain all the letters. Very interesting. They love to play their little name games, but and I've never been a believer in the idea of, I don't know, somebody anonymous doing something like that. The second it started to take off, this Satoshi Nakamoto would have came forward and said, "I'm here. I'm the guy." It's the same thing with Copernicus, right? I mean, I've got this whole plan, but I'm not going to release it till I'm on my deathbed. No, it doesn't happen that way. It really doesn't. And, somebody might show one example of it happening at some point in time like that, but I just don't believe it. I don't think that humans create Bitcoin and then put a fake name to it, and then sit back in their house every day and watch what's going on with it and never say, I'm going to come forward and tell people that it was me. I'll just sit here and I'm just going to pretend like it wasn't me. No, it makes more sense to me that it was a government-created operation. If you look up what the highest wallet for Bitcoin has, who they believe belongs to Satoshi Nakamoto, that could be easily the Federal Reserve or the Rothschilds, anything, the banking system. And I've told the story before many times of Michael Moriarty, who for basically 2.5 years I saw operate upwards of 100 different websites where he would, as cold as could be, steal from you no matter what you did on the site. One of the sites was called Coin2Pal. It's not around anymore. COINTOPAL.com. You would show up at this website and it would say, oh, would you like to turn your Bitcoin into PayPal? And you're like, yeah, that's what I want it for. And then it says, okay, send your, enter your number here, how much Bitcoin you have. You enter the number and it tells you how much it'll pay you out in PayPal. Well, people were just showing up there left and right saying, I want PayPal for my Bitcoin. Here's, how much do I get for 2 Bitcoins? Oh, $16,000. Great. So they put 2 Bitcoins in, they send it away, and that was the end that they ever heard. Now here's the problem. PayPal does not allow any Bitcoin transaction. So you are done. You have no recourse. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call? Can't call PayPal. PayPal, I just sent 2 Bitcoins to some guy who was supposed to pay me PayPal, and he never did. PayPal would say, you're lucky we don't shut down your account. You'd be lucky if they didn't shut down your account. So who do you contact? What do you do? Well, when I found out this person was doing this on many sites, we tried every which way to shut them down, which got me fired from jobs, got my name on a blacklist, got a website made in my name, JeranCampanella.com, which called me a Bitcoin scammer, which called me a thief. Then we got a hold of the IC3 or the FBI, contacted them. They didn't do anything. Sites remained open. By the time we pressed on them, said, hey, what's going on? These sites are stealing money. Go to these sites yourself. Put Bitcoin in there. It will be stolen from you. The person has stolen multiple double-digit millions of dollars. And finally, this was just probably the beginning of this year, that all the sites disappeared. All 100 of the sites are no longer working. They all go to some dead end. And when I contacted the FBI agent and said, did you guys catch Moriarty? He said, I'm not at liberty to talk about the case. So in my mind, the only thing that makes a lot of sense is that this is the kind of operation that the government would run. Why not have somebody like a Moriarty, a fake person using a fake name, using fake IP addresses to open websites, to steal from hardworking Americans who buy Bitcoin or who got rich by investing in it or who got a little bit extra by investing in it. Then the second they go and try and turn it in for PayPal, or the second they try and go and put it in a wallet, or they try and purchase something with it, it's stolen from right under their feet, and there's nothing they can do about it. So it seems like a brilliant way for the government to regain wealth, to take your wealth. I don't think, again, they print money, so what difference does it make to them? But they want your wealth, because the more poor you are, the more you depend on Big Uncle Sam. And that's why I definitely think you need to watch out for these cryptocurrencies. By the way, I do have, if you're interested, you can, well, my website will be up probably by the end of this show, hopefully, or around then. I am doing a revamp of the website. It's almost done. But I do have on that website, or actually, I think you can go to, let me check if something's working yet. But I had a few people ask me if I would offer a consultation for Bitcoin, considering I used to be the head of safety and security with BitScan. Oh, it does work. If you go to v.jeranism.com, there's a little button that says shop, and then on the right, I do have a half-hour crash course of cryptocurrency consulting and a 2-hour full course. We'll talk about that when we get back. Don't go away. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Bitcoin Bashing.
and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
Widening investigation calls for tougher gun control. I'm Ann Cates. The Justice Department will expand a probe to see whether a spy infiltrated the Trump campaign after top intelligence officials sat down with the president.
The president was scheduled to meet with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and FBI Director Christopher Wray here at the White House anyway. However, the meeting backdrop was Mr. Trump's Sunday tweet about demanding the Justice Department look into whether an informant was deliberately sent to spy on his campaign. Top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff.
I've seen no evidence of a political spy embedded in the Trump campaign. I think that's complete nonsense.
But Schiff's counterpart, Committee Chair Devin Nunes, who issued a GOP report concluding there was nothing to the Russia probe, even got a shout-out from the president during a CIA swear-in ceremony.
And a very courageous man. He's courageous. Congressman Devin Nunes.
Bob Costantini, the White House.
Classes will resume at Santa Fe High School next Tuesday after 10 people were killed during a shooting massacre. And teenagers in Texas are calling for stricter gun control. Correspondent Omar Jimenez.
Students, fed up with the violence, staged what they called a die-in, lying outside the governor's mansion in Austin in protest.
We will speak and occupy and yell and lie down and sit and stand to make sure that common sense gun laws are enacted.
On Monday, a moment of silence. Students across the state stood in class, while people at Santa Fe High School stood and prayed. No matter the method, it's all to remember the 8 students and 2 teachers killed.
Parts of Hawaii's Big Island continue to be ravaged. Correspondent Scott McLean.
For people who live here, of course, many of them are still out of their homes because they simply cannot go back because of the fear of lava that continues to bubble up really rapidly and unexpectedly in some places.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 298 points, the NASDAQ up 40. I'm Ann Cates.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
On the weekday, don't be surprised, don't be surprised. Walk like us. They even talk like us. Walk like us. But they are not like us. On the weekday, you can see the signs, you can see the signs. They wear the disguise. Look into the mind's eye. There's nowhere to hide. No stick-covered lies. Whispers from afar.
Welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw, and I have a surprise for you.
Prepare to be astonished.
My partner in crime, Missa Mazing, has sat down beside me.
Mm-hmm.
Missa, how are you?
We're not partners in crime, and you can't hear me either, so that's going to be...
Is your mic on?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I think it is. Maybe I'll just speak into yours.
Speaking of mine, because I do have you off mute, but I don't know why it's not showing
Probably
up.
because my mic's...
Are you plugged in?
Yes. I don't know. Am I plugged in over there?
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on over there.
We don't know what's going on here. We thought that everything was good, but we don't know. She's going to come over and say hi on this mic while she's cooking the dog's food right now.
Hello. I was going to say, we're not partners in crime. We are partners in
Uncrime.
against the crimes.
In uncrimes.
In true revealings. Well, I'm here. I just want to say hello to everybody. And then I'll be back in about 27 minutes.
24.
Oh, 24.
It's not a tumor.
I don't know why that just was a good time for
You
that.
are not in charge of the sounds anymore.
Oh, I'm in charge of soundboard. Believe me, I am in charge of soundboard.
And I got sword.
Yes, I have all these sounds here. I'm like, man, what do I want to play here? Which one's next? What is this one that says Werner von Braun? Do you know what that sound clip is? We're going to give you a surprise. Who knows what this is, but let's see. Oh, it's Tom Lerman or Layman. Well, now we have to hear this song, so sorry. Let's listen to it.
Gather round while I sing you of Werner von Braun, a man whose allegiance is ruled by expedience. Call him a Nazi, he won't even frown. Nazi schmazi, says Werner von Braun. Don't say that he's hypocritical, say rather that he's apolitical. Once the rockets are up, who cares where they come down? That's not my department, says Werner von Braun. Some have harsh words for this man of renown, but some think our attitude should be one of gratitude, like the widows and cripples in old London town, who owe their large pensions to Werner von Braun. You too may be a big hero once you've learned to count backwards to 0. In German or English, I know how to count down. And I'm learning Chinese, says Werner von Braun.
Oh, thank you. I think his name is Tom Lerman. Lerman? Lerman. Yeah. He's got some great songs. He's kind of the Bo Burnham of the 1950s. I'm going to make sure I get the right name. I don't like to get things wrong.
That's absolutely a perfect comparison.
Well, he actually had a song called New Math, didn't he? And then I think, is his name, is this the right name? Tom Lerman?
No, type in a comedian, singing comedian.
I don't know, yes, comedian. I'm sure he's dead.
Maybe.
I could be wrong about that too. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think his name is right. Okay. Let's see here. I have to get this right. I need a person over here that sits over here that I say, like, give me this answer, so I don't have to look it up during the show.
You need your own
Anybody looking for a job where they work for free and come by my house on Monday nights and sit over there and be ready to look up anything I say?
But they have to also have their own Wi-Fi, because I would be doing it.
Yeah, we can't. Miss is not able to use the computer when we're on the show because it's too much. Hey, that's him right there, isn't it?
Nope.
Oh. I got that wrong too.
Type in the song, which is New Math. Actually, it might
No,
even
I'm just going to type in Werner von Braun song.
comedy or something.
That's so bad.
It's probably in your music player. Where
it wasn't there. It just said Werner von Braun.
Oh.
That's him.
What's his name?
His name is Tom Lehrer. Tom Lehrer.
But he was just like Bo Burnham, almost identical.
Yeah, he writes like little comedy songs.
I guess Bo Burnham's like him.
Yes, true. He's not like Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty crazy if he was, but he may be the reincarnated Tom Lehrer. Let's see here. Is he alive? You got to be kidding me.
Wait, years active.
I don't see dead.
Nope, no death. He's alive still.
Wow, age 90, out of New York. Born April 9th, 1928, retired American musician, singer, songwriter, satirist, mathematician. Lectured on mathematics and musical theater, best known for the pithy, humorous songs he recorded in the 50s and 60s. Parodies of popular songs. Check him out. Look him up. I've enjoyed some of his stuff. It's pretty funny.
His stuff is kind of would you say a little bit
agendic?
Yeah. Well, he talks shit about some things.
Yeah, I'd say a little bit was some of it was a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'd have to check it out again, but anyway, check him out. Tom Lehrer, still alive. Mm-hmm. Well, way to go! Congratulations. If I make it to 90, wow, that would be unbelievable. So always impressive when you see somebody get to that age. Hopefully he's living a good life. I don't like to hear people that are that age and have Alzheimer's. Again, I'll tell you, as I tell the audience, if I get Alzheimer's, please take a bullet and put it in my head. Okay? Do not let me live pulling tissue paper out of my purse like my grandmother did for 4 years. Take the tissue out of her purse, put the tissue back in. Take the tissue out, put it back in. Nana, remember me? No. Okay? Take the tissue out of the purse, put it back in. That is not a life I want to live. So please.
It looks like his songs are mostly political and like
war-related. He also wrote a song that satirized the alleged immorality of rocket scientist alleged. Yeah, he worked for Jesus. Werner von Braun, who worked for Nazi Germany before working for the United States. Once the rockets go up, who cares where they come down? It's not my department.
He worked for Nazi Germany and he murdered people. That's what he did.
Yeah, he was at least in charge of places where people were murdered and hung from rafters.
Unbelievable.
So, anyway, check him out. I don't know how we got onto that subject, but that song, we accidentally clicked it. The last time I do that.
Do another one. That's fun.
No, we are listening to Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh, and I gotta cook chicken.
How's the chicken coming?
Really good.
All right. I would love a piece.
We can't eat meat.
Oh, great. So the dog eats better than we do. Oh, thank you. She did bring me some cherries. That's very nice. I do appreciate that. So anyway, I was talking about cryptocurrency. I want to finish that off real quick. If you are interested in learning about it, and the only reason this is offered, some people asked me who said, hey, I know nothing about it. You sound like you know something about it. Can I pay you for a half hour to explain it to me? So I said, hey, that's a good idea. Because I can give a lot of information of why I think it's bad, what I think it's good for, and also I'll teach you a way. There is a way right now to get yourself possession of, unending free wallets and be able to transfer yourself any amount of Bitcoin that you wanted that would be untracked, be untraceable. Now, when you cash that out or how you're going to go doing that, that gets a little bit more difficult because then you usually have to have these know your customer rules from banks. But there is ways to get around. For instance, if I have a wallet with Bitcoin in it and so does somebody else and we transfer back and forth, those things are not tracked. They are kept in the ledger, which will all be explained if you ever are interested in that, basically the blockchain. But I offer a half-hour consultation or a 2-hour consultation. The 2-hour one, by the end of that, you will have received Bitcoin. I will send you some. You can keep it. You can send me a few bits back. You will have a wallet. You will see how transactions take place. You will understand what I think are the pros and the cons, and it will be a conversation between us two. Or you can just do the 30-minute one, which will just be kind of an overview, no money exchanging, no wallet making, but at least an explanation of what the blockchain is, why that probably is the future. It's kind of the same thing with the question about putting a chip in your hand or because you see the possibility that this is a government-run thing, do you just shy away from saying, I'm not doing anything with this cryptocurrency? I don't think that's the best move. I don't think putting all your money into it is the best move. I don't think banking on it is the best move. But I think everything in moderation. And, we can't be sure who invented it or what's its purpose, but there are ways to make it beneficial to you. And that's kind of my goal. I'd love to ask Missa the question about the Missa, come here, I have a question for you. Sorry, I have to call her out of the kitchen. So a caller called in earlier with an interesting question. I want to know what your answer is. Yeah. If the government came and told you that you had to put a implant in your wrist or your hand or your head.
They came to my door.
Came to your door. And,
oh, you can't hear me.
Or that this was the new mandate that starting, July 1st, we all had to put
something in
implants in our hands. And would you do it?
Well, what would be their reasoning be?
Because it's required now. Just like it's required for you to register your car, just like it's required for you.
They would have to tell any normal even person, not just me, they would have to say it is either for your security or
yes,
like what
it's
would
for
be their
tracking,
reason?
To keep track of you everywhere you go.
Well,
in case you go
what's
missing.
Their story?
This is what they're saying.
Oh, okay.
Then in case you go missing, they'll be able to find you.
Okay.
It's a tracking device. It keeps track of your purchases and your money in your bank account. Basically, for whatever reason, it's required.
Basically, like an iPhone in my wrist?
Sure. Would you do it?
If it's required?
Yeah.
If they'll shoot me if I don't do it?
Yes.
Well. I mean, I'd like to say, no, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
but I would have to say probably only because
Yeah.
Who cares, really? But I mean, yes, I care about them tracking me.
Well, like
they
I
already
said,
track me probably all the time already.
Right. What I said is we need to end it before it gets to that point.
Oh, well, that's that. You didn't tell me that was an answer.
No. My answer was absolutely I would do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say shoot me in the head. I'm going to be a martyr for no reason.
But if we were going to talk about if it happens or not, I would say it probably won't happen. It'll maybe be they'll like try it with like a little bit of few people or something and see how people react to it. But it'll be almost just like the whole like the electric or the automated cars. Like they tried it and then it's kind of.
We'll see what happens because if you ask Elon Musk in 10 years, all cars will be automated cars.
Yeah, well, if you ask Elon Musk what's real and what's not, he'll tell you exactly.
There's a guy driving a red car out in space right now. All right, thank you. That's what I wanted to ask.
I would say I would probably do it, but
I wanted to see if you were going to try and be that tough person that says, like, nope, I'm going to be shot over it.
Yeah, no.
Some people out there listening probably think that.
See,
but
that's not something I think is worth being shot over, though. There's
Neither
other
do I.
things that are even.
I also don't think people are very honest when they, if people are honest with themselves, that gets scary. Again, I ask people to really think what you wouldn't do for $1 million.
If it happened to me right today, like what you would do it.
Yeah.
Everybody,
You can try and pretend like
I
you're.
wouldn't fuck a chicken for $1 million. Like, okay.
Yeah,
well,
you can try and be all virtuous and all you want, but in what you say now, it's really easy to say I wouldn't do this for $1 million because nobody's offering it to you.
Yeah.
But really, if we look inside ourselves and say somebody's offering you $1 million for this, it gets scary to what what people would say yes to.
That's so funny. I heard the song at the grocery store. They said the things we do for love, and I was like, maybe we'll have the things we do for money, drugs, or whatever, whatever people do.
Whatever their vice is. Yeah, it gets scary because it's the answer of why the world is the way it is. Because of the benefits that having a lot of money give you versus what your life will be like if you don't have a lot of money. There's such a vast difference that it makes people willing to throw their neighbor under the bus, makes their, turn their back on their friend, cheat on their husband, kill their wife, you name it. There's so much benefit in doing things for money that people see that you can can forget all about everything else.
And it's hard for people to see the benefit in not taking the money because, again, I mean, yes, you can say it's so morally or your consciousness or whatever, but even us knowing that there is, not knowing, but believing that there is something outside of this that we're contributing the knowledge and search for truth to.
Right.
I mean, if you're represented or if you're presented with, here's a, $5 billion signed over your life, basically, to the entertainment industry, or here, I say no, and your consciousness and soul will be uplifted and you will have a better conscience or whatever. Like, what do you think people are going to choose?
Yeah, they make it really a tough call. It's just like when they talk about these women who will do different things with different men because they want different positions in either music or industry.
Yep.
Like, it will always be that way. You will never stop that because
I don't think so.
No, you can't because there's such a benefit in doing that with these men. So do I. I wish the world was a better place, but I'm just saying
do you think that there is a possible way to stop that?
No, not. Yeah. Well, if you get rid of the idea of classes and money, I mean, if there is no benefit to, for instance, these old gross guys, Harvey Weinstein, these guys that are just dirtbags.
Joe Biden,
yeah, who are just dirtbags, who are gross, and they get younger women, great-looking women, because they're powerful. So there will always be women willing to sell their bodies for positions or fame or fortune, and there will always be men willing to use their power to get women to do those things. Forever, until you erase the idea of people having more money than somebody else. Yeah.
That money buys happiness or whatever, basically.
Right, and as long as there's money, money will buy happiness.
I know, but you need to erase that, though.
But that's what they have to control. That's what they do control. They have to control to make sure that there's people who have so little money that their life sucks, and people who have so much money that their life is great. As long as you control that, everything else is easy, because then you can have astronauts, you can have space people, all lie through their teeth every single day because their life is better doing that than it would be if they didn't.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get people to lie. It's easy to get people to steal. It's easy to get people to falsely incriminate. I mean, it's just so easy when you have money. Yeah. It's just money is the root of all evil, or the love of money is the root of all evil. And it's not so much the love as it is the power of money. Money will get you an
feel
easy life.
You feel nobody likes feeling uncomfortable, and unfortunately, money decides whether or not, for the most part, like 90% of the time, whether or not you are comfortable in your life.
The other thing is stress makes you sick. So the less money you have, the more sick you will get. And granted, I do believe also that people who are rich and powerful, if you're a dirtbag and you're always looking behind your back because you screwed somebody over, that life isn't good either.
No.
You're stressed out as well.
Of course not. No. But they portray it as a successful life is a life with more money. And a life of happiness that's what they portray to people.
Yeah, it's portrayed, but I think for the most part that's kind of true if people dealt with it the right way.
Exactly. Well, yeah,
Which is
they're
hard.
totally lying. Yeah, because everybody who does, the corrupt ones.
You end up having to step on people's throats. You end up hurting. You end up right.
When you're in that area.
That's why I have no trust in Trump, because for Trump to be where he was in the New York architecture scene, or what do you call it, land ownership.
He wasn't a senator or anything. And
No, but I mean he was powerful and rich. And when you're rich and powerful, you had to do something to get there. It's usually
whether or not it's like second hand or third person.
Yeah, it's usually not you're a good person and you became rich and powerful, because at some point you probably stepped on a few people, lied, made a shady business deal.
But his family was like family money, right? Or did he start in the slums and move up? No.
I don't think it was super family money. It's not like I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I don't think it was.
Good investments.
Yeah, he did. But I'm saying that when you do that and you own hotels and you own casinos and you're probably not the most transparent up and up person.
I would have to say him compared to like almost every other political person.
Oh, if I had a choice, between him. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Believe me, I'm not saying I'd rather Hillary Clinton be in office.
That'd be murders. We're okay with.
So sorry to take you away from your cooking.
Don't take me away. I mean, you can. I don't mind.
All right, well, I won't do it again until you're ready. So sorry for that little tangent there. We went off on the rails a bit. But I thought that was a good question. Thank you for the caller for asking that question. What else did he say? Oh, about the eyes. I have a problem with that. I just don't. I mean, Eskimos, do they all have blue eyes? I doubt it. Brought up last time, Italians, Northern Hemisphere, not blue-eyed people. So again, not saying that they were from there or anything. I'm just saying that's why I think just saying people in the north, blue eyes, people in the middle, green eyes, people in the south, brown eyes, I'm not sure that's a universal thing. But then again, I have to ask the question of, first and foremost, where did the races come from, or do you think that we all came from the same race? That's something I don't have an answer to myself. I've often asked that question. I think it's an interesting question. I can't really picture it the way that science tells me. Don't think that sounds correct. But I have never heard of a more a more acceptable or feasible idea. So if somebody's got one of those, call in also. I'd love to hear it. Where did the races come from? Were there just one type of human, and then from that, all races came from the one? You have to tell me that. Let's go back. We got a few more minutes before the break. We will listen to Joe and Theo Vaughn. I forgot where they left off, so we will go ahead and continue from wherever that was. Let's listen in.
And I think artificial life and artificial intelligence, they create their own reality and literally create their own universes. I don't think they bother traveling.
Oh, they're just thinking it up and then there it is?
I think they make things. I think this is just a thought, but I think what's going to happen with us, I mean, we take little trips, send a rover to Mars and shit.
Yeah.
We send probes into space. But,
Florida, anywhere. You go local, anything is can be a big adventure. But yeah, we go out to the moon. We went to the moon a couple times, supposedly,
Right, but what we don't do, what we're doing with these little tiny trips, it's like all fairly close. It's all inside of our solar system, right?
Yeah.
What we're saying is that someone is going way, way, way further than that. So they would have to be way more advanced than that.
Mm-hmm.
What I look at us, and I look at artificial life and artificial intelligence and how close we are to creating something that's smarter than us.
Yeah.
Like within the next 100 years, we're going to have some form of artificial life that's probably way smarter than us, and it's going to create even better versions of artificial life. It's going to improve upon the design, and then there's going to be things that they can do in terms of like recreating reality in your own mind. Like you and I sitting across from each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're experiencing this table, We're experiencing looking at each other. We're friends. We have a history together. We talk a lot. So we're used to being in each other's presence. There's all these feelings and thinking and thoughts going on. I think they're going to be able to recreate that. I think.
So what? I guess I'm confused as to what good that does to recreate that. Why are we? And for anybody to say that it would be indecipherable from reality is nonsense. That clearly you will be able to tell when you're in reality and when you're in a video game because you'll remember putting on the headset or the fact that you have a headset on. I mean, I don't understand. I don't grasp this. Again, looking for callers in the second half of the show, which will begin here in about 10 minutes. Tell me why I should be afraid of AI. Tell me why I should be afraid of these things, which I am not worried about in the least bit. I think it's all nonsense to make you feel like you're that unimportant, that you are that replaceable. You're just, we'll have robots do human things. They'll just make humans thoughts will become reality. And, it's like the game Player One or the movie Player One. That is their goal because they want people who can, and they will come close to it. I'm not saying they won't come close to it. Meaning in 100 years or 50 years, you'll have headsets that you could put on and probably have virtual sex with whoever you want. That's what they want. Because then you've got people sitting on their couch, getting fat, getting sick, doing nothing, not stopping the government from overarching control. And eventually that person will just waste away and die. There'll be no repopulation of the earth. That's what they want. They want slaves who are believers in these virtual reality headsets. So what I'm saying is we need to take steps now to end these kind of threats. Like the threat, when you have a government that has that kind of overarching control, we need to end that now. We can't give them the opportunity to put chips in our wrists because they will. And that's what I don't think people understand, is that we will be susceptible to all these things if we don't end it now. If we allow them to continue, we have to see exactly where it's going. Look at the NSA, look at everything that's going on, and realize that the police state is basically already here. Try and go to another country right now. Go ahead, get up from your house and go drive to another country without any paperwork. Don't have an ID. Don't have a passport. See how far you get. Well, you're not going to get anywhere because you're not free. You are controlled by the state. So if we ever wanted that not to be the case, we had to stop it before it became law. It's too hard to go back. It's just we have to. Now, the great thing is that if we ever, make sure this government knows that we are not going to take this kind of behavior, well, then we can recraft a government the way we think it's fit. A government is a government for the people, by the people. We clearly have lost that. The government now is a corrupt system of pedophilia and disgusting lies and nothing but lobbyists and it's so far from what was intended, and we got to stop it as soon as possible because they will only get worse. Believe me, the government will not self-control itself. It will not start to say, let's release some of this surveillance on our citizens. Doesn't happen. It's never happened in history. We can go back and find anything that's never happened.
I think they're going to be able to recreate that in a way that's indistinguishable from this moment that we're experiencing right now.
So then, are humans just going to become obsolete then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well,
dang it. Don't you think we are? I mean, if you go back, right? Go back to single-celled organisms.
Yeah.
Go back to
like an amoeba or something?
The first time single-celled organisms became multi-celled organisms.
Just a book.
Here we go. When you believe in evolution, this is who you become.
In the
how
world.
many of them were hanging back and go, man, fuck that. I'm going to live in the woods. I'm going to stay single cell. Single cell's the way to go.
Yeah,
this multi-cell stuff is bullshit. I don't need to see things, man. Fuck you. Yeah. I don't need a phone, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm a single-celled organism just chilling at the bottom of the ocean. Things don't have to get any better. I like them.
Thank you for joining us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Laughs at Joe Rogan.
Hi there, Chris Gio here. If you're like me, you've heard many shows on TFR discussing the healing benefits of CBDs, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. But with so many options out there, you've probably wasted a ton of money on hemp oils that contain alcohol, solvents, tasted horrible, or simply didn't work. That's why I'm pleased to let you know about Aya Life, a 99% pure CBD oil extract made with all organic ingredients. And best of all, it tastes great, and it works. But Aya Life is much more than just a hemp oil extract. It's a special blend of high-potency CBDs infused with B-Cappy, the non-psychoactive component of the ayahuasca tea. If you're looking to help alleviate pain, inflammation, tremors, anxiety, depression, or simply rebalance your mind, body, and soul, head on over to ayalife.com and get free shipping with coupon code TFR. That's ayalife.com. AYALife.com.
Hi folks, Ronnie here from Life Change Tea. There's a lot of hubbub about the ramifications of GMOs. First of all, what are GMOs? Genetically modified organisms. Yee! Man-made organisms entering our body, changing and damaging us from the inside out. What's our defense? First of all, not eating them. Second, cleansing from them when we do eat them. Thank God for Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea cleanses from toxins, heavy metals, and helps flush GMOs out of your body. Our unique blend of herbs help cleanse you from the inside out, helping you feel refreshed and clean of yee. We also carry unique one-of-a-kind supplements. So order online at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Rid yourself of the yee that contaminates your food and water. Go to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Get the tea, your best defense.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. My name is Brooks Agnew, and I am your host on X Squared Radio every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. This is where the past meets the future. We explore the mysteries of the universe and of the Earth. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We will dissolve the propaganda of dangerous people with dangerous plans for the planet. We will discuss the latest technologies and challenges for humankind. We will discover the safest place for you to stand when the thinkings and doings of mankind come flying apart, and how you can be one of the people that helps put it back together. Join us.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We appreciate you joining us for another fun evening, another Monday night. Not just any Monday night either. It's more special than that. It's
just another manic Monday.
Let's go to the phones, shall we? I think we shall. I just saw one of the calls hang up. Well, that's what you get for not waiting an extra second. However, we got this caller. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
Hey, Jeran, it's Brian from Niagara Falls. How are you?
What's up, Brian? Good, yourself?
Good. And I owe you an apology, my friend. I'm sorry. I'm a dumbass. Let everybody know that I am a dumbass. So I told you guys that I would be taken your videos down.
Oh,
so
yeah,
what
I
I
saw
was
that.
doing was putting them on the unlisted, because when I go to my other accounts and look at my regular accounts, I don't see them. So I figured, okay, nobody can find these. They're just hidden. So
I wonder how I found it.
I don't know how. I have no idea how you could find it, unless you know the exact title. I don't know if that's how it works.
I don't remember
But,
where I saw it.
I've
I
been
happened to
making
see
sure-
one.
Yeah, I've been making sure that everything goes on hidden, so only I have access to the videos that I did put up.
Gotcha.
And then there's no way anybody can get them now. So I'm really sorry that I didn't think I was being dishonest, but apparently I was, and I really, really apologize for that. Because
Well, if
that
they
was
weren't
never my
available to
intent.
everyone, yeah. I don't remember how I saw it, or if somebody sent me a link or something. Maybe that's what it was. But anyway, how's the simulcast tonight?
It's running smooth, so
all right.
Yep, you can't go wrong. And I just wanted to wish you a happy Reptilian Day.
Is it
It's
Reptilian Day?
Victoria Day here in Canada.
Oh.
Well, it's Victoria Day, so Queen Victoria. And you know about the royals.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, happy Reptilian Day to all the Canadians listening. And
Now, weren't you supposed
Have
to
a,
talk to me for some reason? I thought you were supposed to report back to me.
well, a couple weeks back. Yeah, the Toronto van attack.
Oh yeah.
If you recall that. So
Yeah,
so I
you were gonna
talked to my
talk to
friend
somebody at the
that
hospital. Yeah.
So she works in administration and not really like an ER person or a nurse or a doctor. But when she got back from lunch, she noticed everybody was kind of like milling around, just kind of fingers in their bum, waiting for something to happen. And they called it a code orange. And I'm not sure if you know about the numerology with the orange and all that, but
oh yeah,
that's one of those trigger words or numbers as it works out to be.
Right.
So yeah, code orange is apparently what they called it, and not just at her hospital, but at other hospitals as well.
Very strange.
So the fact that it's across the board, I thought was pretty interesting.
Very
and,
strange.
yeah, she never saw any of the victims. She didn't go knocking on doors or anything.
Right.
But she was also talking to me about one of the people that she works with was talking about some guy who was getting in trouble for Sandy Hook. So I'm like, you're talking about Alex Jones. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's his name. But then she's like, what if it really did happen? So what if it really did happen? There's a few thousand people that owe a few people an apology. But if it didn't happen, there are millions and billions of people that are owed an apology.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah, it's a travesty for them to play people's heartstrings like that. I do appreciate your call. We have another caller. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from? Hello. Oh, I think that person just hung up. Let's try again. We've got another person. Oregon, perhaps. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
What's up, Jeran? It's Josh from Oregon.
What's up, Josh?
How's it going, man? I think I called in about a month ago or so. Just wanted to say I loved your last video. I think I watched the intro where they're all celebrating probably 10 times. It was so funny. I just love watching them just erupt into just ecstatic pleasure of what they've done. It's so funny.
I have to admit, I enjoy it myself. And actually, that's not even, I had a couple people say, oh, I love your new intro. And I said, that's actually an old intro. I actually did that for a few videos over 2 years ago and just brought it back just because I happened to see it in my little file folder and said, oh, I forgot about this one. I'll do it again. But it is funny. And if, for those who haven't seen it, it's the one of the Mars landing, the Curiosity landing, where they're obviously, cameras are on. They're getting ready for their little moment where they all get to jump up and down. And I coincide that with the starting of my intro, so it's pretty funny. Thank you for noticing.
I love it, and I love that guy who's supposedly the leader of that team. You probably watched the press conference where they come back, and they're asking him like, "So, how's the landing?" And I can't tell you too much about it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Slightly
if nobody's seen that, you gotta watch it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, Adam Steltzner, or you can put in Curiosity Mission.
That's right.
Curiosity Mission post conference, or whatever you want to call it, post press conference. Yeah, I mean, the fact that anybody thinks that guy is in charge of some mission. They ask him when he says, "Well, we got this image. It's a picture of a tire," and they said, "Do you know what format that file was in?" He's like, "No, I have no idea." And do you know what time this happened? Nope, I don't. If my friend Miguel San Martin is in the crowd, he could tell you. And he just makes no sense, man. That is a funny little. Oh man, he says some of the dumbest things too. Yeah, he says, certainly in some and definitely in number, this group is more. There's so much more without me. It's like, no shit. I mean, who says shit like that? It doesn't make any sense. Like, nobody thought you were better than the entire team. So yes, you're right. Certainly in number, these people are more capable than you.
Dude, I loved it. The other thing I wanted to mention was the last school shooting supposedly on Friday. Have you looked into that much, or?
I just saw a couple of the interviews with the Freemason guy. You're talking about the Texas one?
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it enough. What's your thought on it?
Oh, I just watched another interview today, and this kid comes on, and he was supposedly shot in the back of the head. It went through the back of his head and out the side of his neck. And then he told the reporter that he didn't feel anything. And then he scaled a 7-foot wall to get away. And then he walked 200 or 300 feet away and then saw a drop of blood on his shirt. And then someone said, "Hey man, you just got shot in the head." And he said, "Oh, wow." And so then he went and then he had to go another 200 or 300 yards. And then he went to the hospital, and they said they released him within 2 hours of being at the hospital.
Because the bullet went through and through?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. It went through his head. And then he said, yeah, the doctor said, if it would have been a millimeter, just the other direction, I would have died. But I mean, who gets out of the hospital? I mean, even if you go in for a bee sting, you're not going to get out of the hospital within 2 hours.
He's more amazing than Gabby Giffords.
So, oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that one's hilarious. But there's a few other interviews I saw, like where the girl, she's like, hysterically crying and sniffling, and there's no tears. There's 0 tears. I mean, you can watch it.
I will definitely look at. I have a weird belief about some of those false flags. Well, I mean, I just am not fully sold on the fact that they are all fake. I think that there's a couple instances. San Bernardino, for one, a lot of people say nobody died, nobody got hurt. But I tend to think that sometimes they might send this group in, the Craft, that kind of looks like they I think I don't know how to explain it. They go in, they do the damage, and then they put it on somebody else, either through mind control or whatever. But I haven't, I can't say that for sure. It just looks like some of these events, I do think that people die, and then they seem like they're covering up the bodies, or they're they don't want like in this school shooting in Florida. Again, I'm not positive that nobody died. But again, it could be actors. I mean, if you hear a school shooting going on, you're in a classroom, you come out of the classroom in a hurry to leave, and somebody's sitting on the floor with a blood packet burst against their head, you're going to assume you saw somebody die. Now, the question with that is, well, these people all go to the same high school. I don't know about you. In my high school, we pretty much knew of everybody, and I can't picture them coming in and doing a fake kind of mission or a fake false flag attack to where then they're saying that, let's say 10 students are dead, and people will be walking around school like, who died? And to me, I just don't know if you could get away with just making those names up, or saying everybody would get together and say, did anybody know this person? Well, can I see a picture? I've never seen this person at our school. So I think it's easier to do if you actually go in and take those people out. But I don't know. I could be completely wrong on that.
Yeah.
But they've got coaches that are like coaches of the football team are dying. I just think there's more impact when you actually kill those people. Now, again, a lot of people say, well, they couldn't possibly be doing that. But there is this group called the Craft that I know the San Bernardino situation, that there's people who were standing outside that saw 3 white men in tactical gear leave the scene in a black SUV. And then next thing you know, a couple hours later, now they're pulling a Muslim couple out and killing them and saying they were them. Same thing that happened in other events too. Even the event at the Florida school shooting, that a teacher pops out and sees a man in full military garb that isn't the student that they arrested. So who is this guy, this police officer in there shooting people? So I don't know. Sometimes I am not willing to say nobody died, nobody got hurt yet.
Yeah, I hear you. I think either way, there's shenanigans, obviously.
Absolutely. That I do not disagree.
I saw, and I saw one other girl get interviewed, and this was just odd. Like the guy asking her, the reporter said, did it even feel real? Did it feel like it was real? And then she kind of looks up at the camera and kind of smiles, and then goes on and says whatever. But it was just like, why would you even ask that? And then why would she have this smirk on her face?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
So I don't know, man. It's weird.
The other thing I think they play off of, and I don't know, I think people might not admit this again to themselves, but people have this problem with wanting to be a part of a big story, so much so that people will lie about it. So if you have this event at the school, then these kids are really interviewing these children from the school, and they're just like, it's like their moment in the light. It's their Instagram moment where they're able to and they make stuff up. They're not, maybe they weren't even anywhere near where it actually happened, but they're going to say something like they were. I always use the example of the 1989 earthquake at the Giants-A's World Series game. Now, I was there, but that's not very impressive to say that, because there's probably 2 million people who say they were there, because I've met so many people that have said they were there, and there's only 60,000 seats at the stadium. Couldn't have been that many people there, but talk to anybody in Gilroy, Morgan Hill, San Jose, all that kind of area, and everybody will tell you they were at the game. So you tend to start thinking, well, were these people really there, or is it just because people want to be, oh, I was there too. Oh yeah, I was there. So I think that they play off that. Again, these guys have our psyches down to a T. They know exactly how people work. They know exactly how they operate, and I think they use it against us. And but I can't say much about the Texas one. As I said, I haven't looked into it much yet, but I will take your advice and definitely look into it, because I want to see this guy that got shot through and through in the back of the head and is running hundreds of feet. And come on, give me a break.
Well, and scaling a 7-foot wall, and then he said he didn't feel anything. So it's like, okay, sure.
Was he on that new drug Flocka? Last week,
I don't know about that drug. What is that?
Ooh, I don't know. You don't want to look it up. It will make you very sad. But last week when I had Dave Murphy on the show, he said something about some new drug, Flocka. I'm like, what the hell was that? He's like, oh, it's this new drug that people are getting stuck on in Florida or something. I looked it up on YouTube, and I mean, it'll make you sad to be a human. These people are just gone. I don't even know how you take the drug. I don't know if it's a drink or a pill or a smoke it. I have no idea. Just they show people who are gone. They're like scooting on the ground, like their heads are moving. They look like they're completely out of their minds. But you'll see a couple videos like somebody's running through like a car window. Like they're just, it's insane. However they're getting a hold of it. Wow. I don't think anybody's going out and buying like, hey, can I get some Flocka? It must be like a bad drug. There's nobody in the world that would ever say, oh, I want to look like these people. But I guess the same is true for like methamphetamines. I never understood how anybody, how do you go and ask for methamphetamines if you're seeing people who have no teeth? Yeah, it's like, there's people who have no teeth who are like cleaning their shower with like a toothbrush. It's like, who says like, I want to go do that? Where do I sign up to get no teeth and clean my shower with a toothbrush? Yeah, I don't know. But I guess it's because it must be addiction. So I could. All right. Well, I appreciate the call. I got more callers. So.
All right, man. Thanks, Jeran.
Thanks again. Oh, maybe I don't do it. Well, whoever just hung up, if you want to come back, click it again. Shoot. Nope, I think they hung up. Okay, well, the line is open again, but nobody is there. Let's see here. And, the other thing that's crazy is all these events they've all got this training going on at the same time or at the same place, or, that's a big sign. But for me, yeah, nothing being reported in the media is the truth. Nothing at all. When you're talking about these false flag attacks. Now, again, I don't know what happened, but that's the whole point, is you won't know what happened. How could you know what happened? How can you know what happened if the news, whose job it is to go there and investigate and research and interview, if they are going to lie to you, then you're just playing a guessing game. And so every video on YouTube, I watch them. I look at people's evidence and kind of maybe build my own opinion. But nobody knows what happened. Nobody knows what happened at 9/11. Nobody knows what happened at Sandy Hook. Nobody knows what happened at the Pulse nightclub. Nobody knows what happened at San Bernardino. You can make educated guesses or observations about the event and then make up your own mind. For example, the San Bernardino one. I bring that one up because it was one of the first ones that woke me up, one that I've looked extensively into, one that I've made a video on where I think clearly shows that without a doubt, it is an impossible belief if you believe that the story is as reported. In fact, it's not even impossible. It's completely incomprehensible. I mean, there's no way, because I've shown in that video that you've got a helicopter pilot who 5 minutes before the final shootout is told East San Bernardino Avenue. And he says, East San Bernardino, can I go with that? And then they say no. And he said, oh, okay. Then they're looking at some other stuff. And he says, can we go now? Go now? All right, East San Bernardino Avenue. This is 5 minutes later. And again, the total time that the car was even on that street before it was shot out is a minute at the most. But even more than that, you've got supposedly a husband and wife who go in and shoot up 14 people at some medical center. They get in their car and they take off, barely missing the cops by literally seconds. They get onto the freeway and drive 15 minutes to their house in the Redlands, park at that house, and stay there. Okay, so imagine anybody, no matter how crazy they are, shoots 14 people, gets in a car, and gets away. You can't even have expected that to happen if you are a mass murderer. You're going to go shoot up some place. You can't think to yourself, well, we're going to go shoot a bunch of people with our Uzi rifles and our AR-15s, and then we're going to get in our car and we're going to drive away, and nobody's going to even see us, or no one's going to have our license plate. No, nothing. We're just going to drive home, kick back. Never a thought in your mind. But that's what happens here. They get on the freeway, they drive 15 minutes, they go to their house. Now, all kinds of things happen at the hospital. They're saying people died, whatever. Then, down the street from the hospital, not very far, or the Inland Medical Center, they set up an area where Bearcats are there. I'm talking about these huge SWAT team vehicles. Cops are showing up by the dozens. They're all meeting at some spot, having a conversation. There's video of it for hours, because in between this time when the shooting happens and later in the afternoon, this couple was sitting at their house 15 minutes from the location where they killed 14 people. Now they send an unmarked police car, supposedly, because they get word it could be this couple, they left early, whatever. They send this unmarked police car to the house, and when the unmarked police car gets there, the car is leaving. So they turn around. Now, do they pull this couple over? They've got basically told that it was them who did it, told the getaway car, supposedly they're driving it. So this unmarked police car, no, it just follows this couple. Where does the couple go? Which, again, they could have gone to Mexico already. They could have gone to Canada. They could be driving anywhere in the state or even Nevada by this time. But no, they start heading back the direction that they came earlier in the day, get off on the same exit that they took to get home, and then drive right back by the medical center down to East San Bernardino Avenue, where the cops were congregating the entire day, getting ready with SWAT teams, getting their gear on, getting all ready, and then they just drive 3 blocks around in a circle and like a U-turn, go up one street, across, then down, and pin in the SUV for a final shootout where they take out the husband and wife, the Muslim couple. To believe that that happened is impossible. It is the stupidest belief you can have. There is no way that the cops all congregated at some place next to where the murder happened earlier and just hung around there and said, well, let's wait till this people who did this damage come back by the place where they did the damage. Shouldn't you be out scouring the city? Shouldn't you be scouring the state? Shouldn't you be looking for this car in Mexico? What are you doing hanging out where the activity happened? There's no chance the people ever come back there, but not in this case. Because what did they do? They drove right back there, right back into the trap where the cops had set them. And then you got the body on the ground, which looked fake. It's just an insane belief to think that that is the way that day went down, especially when you've got interviews with people saying, oh yeah, 3 white men were seen leaving the building with tactical gear and long rifles, and they got in an SUV and drove off. So whether or not the couple was in police custody, maybe, and then they just killed them and then drive out to that place and throw their bodies on the ground, I don't know. That's what I mean by we can't know what happened. Nobody will ever know what happens. But you're able from that to say we're being lied to by mainstream media, by police, by government officials, by high-ranking hospital staff members. So the whole thing is a lie. And I have no doubt that if you look through these events, they will all kind of give the same clues. And that's why I have my belief about Sandy Hook. And I mean, Sandy Hook, there's no video footage of Adam Lanza entering any school building. There's no video footage of any children being escorted out. There is a picture, we've all seen it, with the one girl with the cry face and her hands on the boy's arm in front of her. That's like a group of 9 or 10 children. That's the only photo or video of children being evacuated from the school. There's no helicopters called. There's no, I mean, it's just crazy. And then to think that they just got there and said, nope, parents, you can't see any of your dead children. We're pronouncing them dead, even though they're inside the school. We're not going to get any of them any medical attention. There's no ambulances coming here. And that's it. We're going to do all this work overnight. Tonight, I'm going to pronounce them all dead and take them away to the morgue when you can't see. You can't view any of that. And still to this day, no video footage of any of that. No video footage of Adam Lanza entering the building by basically, who knows what method, considering the doors should be locked. The whole thing is crazy. Great videos about that by Sophia Smallstorm, by Dr. James Fetzer. Tons of stuff out there so you can see about Sandy Hook. But my moral of my story was that all these events have so many glaring holes. And, I have events that I think are absolutely true and legit. If you want to watch a good documentary, and it's even one that I think has some things in it that might make some people who are what you might call auto hoaxers say, oh, this is fake. But watch the documentary 77 Minutes. It's about the 1984, if I'm not mistaken, San Ysidro killing at a McDonald's. About a father who basically went home and told his wife, I'm going people hunting. He'd been fired from his job. Walked into a McDonald's, shot like, I'm going to say 15, 20 people. And there's a documentary about it. It's called 77 Minutes because that's the length of time that it took from the first bullet to the point where that killer was killed. He basically got to walk around inside the McDonald's for over an hour, and then the cops shot him from outside. But when you watch that documentary, you should see, and I think this is what they saw, the way that the impact on the community when people started donating money and people started wanting to make memorials at that location. I think the government saw the power in misery and the power in heartache and the power of death. And, it's so sad because this is what these people do. They play off of the minds of humans that they know and understand. It's just like they use the television. Believe me, they knew long before the TV came out of what the power of the TV would be. The power to put images and depictions on a screen and have people feel that emotionally from all over the world. That you no longer needed to have a war in front of people for them to feel bad about these people dying at war. You just needed to make people die on a screen to make them think and feel like people are dying in the war. And they just use this constantly for every possible reason by showing you Sally Struthers with the skinny child in Ethiopia. All these things were geared at playing with your heartstrings. Anyway, we got more calls. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night. Sally Struthers from my
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
The Santa Fe attack, expanding probe. I'm Ann Cates. Classes will resume next Tuesday at the Houston area high school where 10 people were murdered. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports authorities have released a timeline of the shooting.
It took the officers 4 minutes to respond to the shooting and engage the shooter. Galveston County Sheriff Henry Trotchesit says the officers exchanged gunfire with the suspect and kept him occupied while they waited for backup.
At that point, that individual continued just to engage them, which saved so many lives. It was contained in that one area, which saved so many lives.
Officer John Barnes remains in critical condition.
The Justice Department is widening a probe.
When the meeting involving the President, Rod Rosenstein, and FBI Chief Christopher Wray was over, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders issued this statement, quote, based on the meeting with the President, the Department of Justice has asked the Inspector General to expand its current investigation to include any irregularities with the Federal Bureau of Investigations or the Department of Justice's tactics concerning the Trump campaign. End quote. And Chief of Staff John Kelly is looking to set up a meeting with the interested agencies and congressional leaders to determine where things stand. Bob Costantini, the White House.
The manhunt continues for suspects after a Baltimore County police officer was shot and killed while investigating a possible burglary. The name of the officer has not been released, but officials say she was a 4-year veteran of the force. Hawaii's Big Island is grappling with violent lava exploding out of cracks in the ground. Correspondent Stephanie Elam.
You feel it in your chest. It is strong. I watched it. It is throwing rock up into the sky, several hundred of feet. So that is why they're asking people to be careful there. There was one man who was hit by a lava bomb over the weekend. We understand it shattered his leg.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 298 points. The S&P 500 closed up 20. The Nasdaq up 40. I'm Ann Cates.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us here on Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Let's see if we've got any phone calls. Oh, somebody was there, but they are gone now. Oh, this is so sad. Do you want to come? I don't know what happened. Is your thing plugged in, you think?
It is. Oh.
Power button's on?
I just hit it.
I don't hear anything.
Broken.
Try now.
It's okay. I will come over to you.
No, try now.
Oh, okay. How about check? And it's I do very smally. I think it's the cord is like sat upon by puppy or something.
That was almost good. Try again. Testing.
Oh yeah, it's my cord. It's like
pinched or something.
Wait, how about here, let me like that.
There we go. Leave it. Don't touch it.
Oh wait, it's scratching. How about now?
Beautiful. I can hear you.
Okay, puppy, don't touch it.
Nobody touch that cord or else you're grounded.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about.
Oh,
before
phone
the break.
calls. You said phone calls. None.
There was no phone calls on the. Oh, we do have one.
Oh.
Let's go to our call. It looks like somebody who's upside down, currently experiencing quite a headache. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this way from? You got to turn off the show.
Hello, Jeran?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you going? It's Tim. I'm ringing from Melbourne, Australia again.
How are you?
Good. How have you been?
Very good, thanks.
Look, I just want to say I listened to your show with Dave Murphy last week.
Mm-hmm.
And look, it was an awesome show. I really enjoy listening to him because he was one of the first people that kind of woke me up. I mean, basically 3 people. Like it was Dave, yourself, and Brian Mullen.
Yeah. I love Dave too.
Because
he woke
I'm
me
actually.
up as well.
Yeah, I mean that show he did. I think was it Croatian TV or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was awesome when he was on the Macedonian TV, I think.
That's the one. That's one of the first ones I saw, and then I actually caught your stuff with NASA. So, like, some of the stuff, your early stuff with NASA was one of the main reasons I stopped believing in a lot of things. So, then I actually got onto Brian Mullen because I'm actually a mechanical engineer, and his stuff was unbelievable. So I'm kind of amazed that he just disappeared. And I was going to ask if you know, is he coming back, or do you talk to him at all, or no?
I can only tell you what I heard, and what I heard was that his job, wherever he worked or something, basically told him he couldn't do what he was doing anymore, that there had been some sort of ethics call or something. I'm not sure how true that is, but that he felt, and then he also had a baby on the way that was almost due, and so from what I heard, that he had made the decision that it was best for him and his family to go away, that he would be back. That was the word, but obviously that was at this point more than a year ago. So I'm not going to say he'll be back. He may not.
Okay, fair enough. Getting back to Dave Murphy, he spoke a lot about. I think did he mention the green eyes, blue eyes, brown eyes thing as well on the show?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that somewhere else. And look, I'm from the Mediterranean, or like originally, well, my parents are. I was born in Australia, but and our family's got brown eyes, hazel eyes, and blue eyes. So it's I don't understand how people can believe because you come from the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, your eye color's got something to do with that. So
yeah, I've struggled with it too. I mean, he keeps calling in and keeps voicing it. I don't see any kind of solid evidence there. I mean, sure. I think eye color must come from something, and I'm sure it's just like anything else. It's probably from your environment. I mean, I don't think that you can just say north, blue,
no, it's like hereditary, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
well, I don't know. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, can somebody like have blue eyes though, and your parents are both brown eyes? Yes.
Yeah, but then their grandparents must have had blue eyes.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's how my sisters are. My parents have both got brown eyes. I've got brown eyes, but my sister's got blue eyes, and my other sister's got hazel eyes. So I don't know how it works.
Do you know if your grandparents had?
It's unbelievable.
Did your grandparents have blue or hazel on their eyes?
Well, I never met my grandparents. I've only got one grandma alive, and she lives in Germany, and she's got brown eyes. So my other grandparents, they died when I was 1 year old, I think. So I never met them, and when I asked my parents, they say they had brown eyes. So
interesting.
Who knows? Yeah, 100 years ago or whatever, somewhere through our ancestry, there might have been.
Maybe.
Someone with.
It's crazy because if you think about it, dogs have blue eyes as well. I've seen some dogs with blue eyes, but you don't see there's no red eyes.
No, unless you're albino.
No. No, but It is interesting. I mean, I have thought about looking into, my grandparents' history, but it's hard because, they died a long time ago, and it's all overseas stuff, so it's very hard.
Isn't that kind of scary though? Miss and I talk about that a lot. We think that we can't even say. I don't even know the names right now off the top of my head of my great grandparents. I know my grandparents' names.
I'm the same.
My great grandparents. I know. Yeah, I can think of one of them. But it's pretty crazy that's how quickly you are forgotten.
Yeah.
That it's pretty scary because that's not that far long ago that they would just be. I mean, that means that like my son's, his children's children won't even know my name.
Yeah, they won't.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Yeah, if you think about it like that, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. But the main reason I rang is Dave said something on your show last week, which I really didn't agree with.
He said
he didn't believe in ring.
Yeah, he said a lot of things.
What's that?
I said he said a lot of things I didn't agree
with. Oh
yeah.
Like I know some of the stuff he does, like on urine therapy and that, I don't agree with, but that's a different subject. He said he doesn't believe in reincarnation. Am I correct?
Yeah, I struggled with that one too, and I didn't like that. Well, I didn't like his thing where he said basically you get a life here and you're, you either use it well or you don't, and that's it. And I don't like. I've seen too many children die. I've seen my niece die, who was 5 years old from an asthma attack. There's no way you could just say that was her one chance. No, somebody like that, in my mind, because I think we don't have control over everything. Some children are not going to develop right. Some might get hit by a vehicle, whatever. And in those cases, I think that it doesn't bother me to say, well, that soul would come back again. I mean, that's just my opinion. Or if you rape a child when they're 1 year old through the time that they're 4 years old, that person will grow up with problems. Will never be a normal human being. So to say that they're just judged on that life, like, nope, that's it. You had your one chance here. Well, no, they didn't. They didn't even have a chance. They were compromised from the very beginning. Yeah. So in my opinion, I like to look at that and say those people would have another opportunity. How about you?
Jeran, I'll tell you a story that'll look. When I hear this story, the hairs at the back of my neck stand up. My mum has got a friend from her childhood. And she has always said she remembers her past life, right? Always said it. She remembers how she died. She remembers her children. She remembers her parents. Everyone used to, we just blow it off. Yeah, okay, it's just in your head. No, you're making it up. So 2 years ago, I think it was, she said, you know what, I'm actually going to go visit my past family. She jumped on a plane. She flew to Greece. And she actually met with her parents, her old parents apparently, and she told them the story, and they didn't believe her. And she actually started talking to them about things only that their past daughter would know. Where she was killed, her daughters. She met her daughters, and she told them things that only their mother would have known. Things from their childhood. She remembered where she lived. She remembered where she used to hide her key, like for her daughters to come home and pick up the key from school. Unbelievable. She took photos with them. Look, I didn't believe it until she came back, and she showed photos. They finally believed her story because it was impossible for her to know some of the things that she knew. And I spoke to my mum about this. Probably. Yep. Sorry. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, if you ever talk to that person and they'd be interested in coming on for an interview, I think that is one of the most amazing stories that I don't feel is told enough. And when I hear them, I'm always so enthralled by them. But I also look at it and say, man, that person could just be lying. The parent. But I mean, there's so many great stories of these children that remember being killed in the war, and it's like,
or if people's lives are cut short,
right?
Like they didn't die naturally.
Oh yeah, how did that girl die? How did your?
Do you remember?
Was it something abrupt or murder?
She was drowned in the rice fields. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And she remembers. She remembers this, and she remembers apparently when she was in the coffin or whatever when they were burying her. she remembers everybody crying, and she wanted to leave her body or somehow tell the people to stop crying. Look, I'm going to a better place. Or and the thing is, her English is not very good, Jeran. So
okay.
When she talks, she talks. Sometimes she really struggles to get her point across. But look, my mum has actually spoken to her in more detail, and I actually told my mum, why hasn't this woman written a book or gone on interviews because it is an amazing story. And I actually told my mum, look, I'll be happy, Mum, if I can interview her, or we'll just get her story down and just print it in English, or just get it out there, because I believe it. I actually believe it. You know, it's one of the only times where I think there's some proof.
Yeah, I have no reason not to believe it. And I think that a lot of people ask the question of why wouldn't we, for instance, my wife and I have no recollection of any previous life. But I think that when I think about the way that I believe that we're, basically judged, or the way that I think your afterlife would work, I don't think it would do any good if we did remember. Meaning, if the goal of life is to learn and to maybe break free of whatever deception that you're under, whether it's religious deception, whether it's government tyranny, whatever it is, if you had that memory after you died and came back with that memory, then I don't think you're really learning.
Really?
No, because
you have to remember, in order to learn from something, you have to remember what you did wrong in order to not do it again.
Yeah, but then you don't do it again, not because you learned, but because
it's in you.
You saw it's like hindsight. Hindsight's 20/20. If you didn't learn it during the actual events, if you weren't able to see it during your life, then to live your life, die, then get to see it and say, oh, I see what happened. I was being deceived there. Let me go back now that I know that. That's cheating. You didn't learn it then what he's talking about with the reincarnation. I think sometimes those people are like, their life ended at some point, like abruptly.
So then their soul is still, or their mind or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work, but it's just like, it's not.
Like if you and I did have past lives, either we didn't do anything significant or what,
right,
basically.
Or this is our first time.
Yeah.
Regardless, either way, it does no good if you remembered your past life, because then you're not learning.
Right. Well, I think you would only remember your past life possibly by what do you call it, like an error or something?
Well, for instance, imagine this. Imagine your child as a teenager, and you don't give them a curfew.
Okay.
Right. So they come home, whatever. Or let's say you do give them a curfew, and every time they get home and they're late, you ground them. Right. Okay. So they learn not to come home later than the curfew, but they're not really learning the reason why. Yeah. Or the importance to it.
True.
Whereas if you just let them go and they learn that, like, oh, when I stay out late, shit happens. I think somebody says the saying before, nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
Okay.
Which is true.
Yeah.
You're not going to be out at 2 a.m. and something good happened to you. If you're out after 2 a.m., something bad's happening. Yeah. Somebody's getting drunk. Somebody's going to crash a car.
Yeah.
There's just bad shit that happens. Yeah. So, like, that's a real learning, is for somebody to go through that experience, have something terrible happen, and say, it's better for me to be home. I do better on my tests. I do better at school.
Not just because my mom said so.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you just got to see after, it's come to see, okay, I'll just go back through life and do it the right way.
Got you.
I think that's not learning. So I think this is a learning ground where you really have to learn during your life. I don't know.
Interesting.
Crazy story, though. That's unbelievable. I wish I could meet somebody. I don't know anybody who says that.
Honestly, I've asked my mum. I actually want to go meet her. I actually want to talk to her as well, and just maybe ask her. I've got a million questions I'd like to ask her, and if she's even if she's willing to tell her story, and I'll record it, and I'll get it translated. Look, it's an amazing story. And that's why I think we're here for a reason, and it's part of this thing that we all seem to think we've woken up to the idea of the flat Earth, or we're being deceived, and who knows what they're hiding? Who knows what these people know that we don't know? And I think back to the time when the moon landings were first, people first started to see the lies in what they were. We only thought, okay, they're faking the moon landing. But never did we know that they were faking the whole idea of space or the globe Earth. Right. At least now, 50 years later, we're realizing why they faked the moon landing. But I also think, why are they faking space then? Why did they fake the globe Earth? You know, we still don't. I honestly don't believe we know the true reason yet why they're doing what they're doing.
No, we can't.
No, it's
I don't
just
think
like
we
I
will
talked about.
know.
It's just like I talked about earlier with these false flag attacks. I mean, you'll really never know what happened at 9/11. It's
just recognizing when there's
deceit
deceit and when there isn't.
Set it up a way that you could never know. So it's kind of like you have to recognize what it is and call it out. And because I think the further we let them get away with these things, the more kind of overzealous they get, the more just nonsense, and the more things people believe. I mean, literally, they could say anything happened in space tomorrow, and people would believe it. They could say anything
because most people don't recognize deceit. Yeah.
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 Yep. And then never will. Like, look, I read a lot of books. I've read. I just recently finished Judy Wood's, Dr. Judy Wood's book on Where Did the Towers Go?
Great book. Yeah.
You know. Well, you know, I mean, I can go on, but I did want to ask you a question about books, because I know you've got a bookstore. I've actually managed to find myself an original copy of the 1881 Zetetic Astronomy by Samuel Rowbotham.
An actual
I've read
copy?
that thing. Yeah, I've got the original. I've got the 1881 edition. So it took me a year to find it.
Wow.
In Australia.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
But I actually found it in Tasmania. Yeah, I've found it in Tasmania. The convicts must have brought it over.
Have you checked it against a PDF version?
I have, Jeran, and the 1881 version is 430 pages. The only PDF version I found was the edition 2 version, which was, I think it was 180 pages or 200 pages, something like that. 230 pages. Yeah, it matches up. It really does.
Word for word? I mean, there's no missing sections, no missing parts?
Yeah, well, would you believe there is? The first page on the PDF version is missing, where it explains what the term zetetic means. So, obviously, Samuel Rowbotham was quite serious in his research and what he was saying. And he points that out in the first page. It's actually big headline, Zetetic Astronomy, and then he gets into what the word zetetic means. It comes from the Greek language. That page has been removed and blanked out, just black. I mean, if you don't believe me, go have a look. You'll see a black page where it explains zetetic, and then it gets into the first page. I've got it here. The first page starts on something about
he talks about it coming from the verb that comes from the verb zeteo. I've read that page before. Yeah. Is that what the first page you're talking about? I've read it on a PDF somewhere before. I think it's the one I have at my site has that first page. I'm not saying they all do, but I just know that I remember you saying that. Yeah, he describes zeteo is the Greek word. Yep. I'm trying to remember what else is said in there, but I don't. Yeah, he talks about the truth will get rid of the deception or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right, because I have seen it later on, but the ones I have seen have been the ones where just like people like me and you have uploaded it, onto online.
Gotcha.
So, but my question to you was going to be, look, I've got all the Flat Earth books, all the ones from Thomas Winship and Is the Bible from Heaven, Is the Earth a Globe, but all of them refer to Zetetic Astronomy as being the first one that they're continuing from. I can't find anyone that has written a book before Zetetic Astronomy. Now, Samuel Rowbotham wrote the first one in 1864. Before that, I cannot find anyone writing a Flat Earth book.
What about like Christian topography? I mean, Christian.
No, I haven't looked at that. No.
Okay. That was written, I mean, again, yeah, it depends on whether you're talking about my real opinion or what they say. They say it was written in 6th century. I don't fully believe that, but I think it was written in like 550 AD. There's the whole book, though, is a Flat Earth book. He makes it's written by Cosmas, and the guy's last name is, I can't spell it, Indico Pluestis. Cosmas, like Cosmas, and then Indico Pluestis. But he it's a Flat Earth book. He basically, it's actually a pretty fun read because he makes fun of people who believe in the globe, that rain must fall up and that there's people living in the antipodes, and exactly what they were going to try and do. He said, here's what they're going to do. They're going to try and convince people that the Earth's a sphere, and yeah, it's a pretty interesting read. But yeah, as far as before or after that, I mean, again, I think most books were rewritten in 1600. I think that's when the printing press came out. That's when they would have started to have the idea of, if we print books, whatever we print will be the belief. So we can basically get away with saying anything now as long as we hold on to it, or at least work from that. And I think that they wrote a lot of books about astronomy and things from that point on, and maybe fabricated the older stuff. So I wouldn't expect there to be really much that they wouldn't have got rid of, maybe until about the time period of Zetetic astronomy. So.
Yeah, it's just interesting because obviously when he wrote that book, it started that whole movement in 1800s, early 1900s. But before that, like you said, the book you spoke about is a long time before that. What happened in the period between? Nothing. No one.
Well,
anyway,
you have to look at it. You have to look at it this way. They wouldn't have had somebody who would print it. So, for instance, back then you had to have some sort of connection with a book printer. And anything they didn't, I'm sure that was easy to pay off the book printer and say, hey, any books that come across that are saying anything bad about our astronomy, don't print it, and we'll pay you not to. And then it would have been a public thing. I mean, the internet has done so much because we're able to find others out there who believe the same thing we do, or who will listen to what we say and look at evidence and maybe formulate their beliefs on that. But before the internet, in the 1900s or late 1800s, there really was like nothing for, it would have been really tough for Samuel Rowbotham to go out on these speaking engagements. If you go and you speak to an auditorium and those people all just make fun of you and laugh at you, that it would be really tough to then show up the next night at some other place and do the same thing. That'd be really tough because you're not going to find others, very rarely, that would say, I believe what you say. So that's, I could see how tough it was. Whereas now, even like when Missa told me to make a video when we became Flat Earthers in 2014, and I said, no, I'm not going to be the first one to make it. I'm not, people aren't ready for it. I'm not going to be a laughing stock. And it wasn't until I saw others start to come out with their videos that I said, you know what, I'm just going to try it. And, maybe people will tell us we're crazy and we'll just go back to our personal
Talk about
beliefs.
Religion.
Yeah. But then we started to make videos and people start to say, hey, we see the same thing. I started to get emails that said we felt the same thing. And then I started to get the emails from people saying that they've all felt, a lot of people have felt that way their entire life. Not that they thought about the Earth being flat, but that they thought that something didn't make sense here. Something about life was wrong. And really, I felt the same way. And I remember 10 times in my life probably walking somewhere and looking at the world and kind of thinking to myself, God, this Earth looks flat. And then just going right back to my regular life. But it was like once I got rid of that need to go back to the regular believing it's a ball, what a relief it was for me. That then things made sense. The sky made sense. I don't know, many people know this, but I had a fear of flying my entire life. And when I flew to North Carolina for the International Flat Earth Convention, on the way there, Missa was telling me, are you nervous yet? Because she knows how I am on flights. My hands get all clammy. I grip the seats. I say the Our Father 30 times on the flight. And this time I said to her,
really?
I said, for some reason I don't feel nervous yet. I guess I'll realize it when I get to the airport. And I got to the airport and wasn't nervous, got on the plane, wasn't nervous. The plane took off. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have a fear of flying anymore.
Because you learned a lot about flying. I think.
Yeah, I learned about it, but I also felt like I knew what I was flying over.
You were not flying upside down anywhere.
I wasn't upside down or sideways. So crazy.
Yeah.
No way. I flew from Sydney to Los Angeles. It was a flight for 14 hours straight, non-stop. And we actually flew over Hawaii, and I looked out the window. But when you're flying over the ocean, you cannot see anything. The clouds are unbelievable. You just couldn't see anything. And I was very scared of flying as well. But like you said, when you actually find out or feel.
Hey, we appreciate the call. It was fun.
But if he wants to finish the.
You want to finish your thought?
Then come back after.
No. I'll let you go, Jeran. Look, no, right. Mate, I could talk to you for an hour, but I know you got other calls, so I'll let you go.
Appreciate it. Be right back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night. Hangs up on people who are broken.
Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured truthfrequencyradio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality. Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up. Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right, construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check, but there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Jim Ram, retired. In early 2012, I was facing a laundry list of chronic health conditions that my physician was telling me were incurable. I knew there had to be a better way, and I learned how I could reverse every one of my ailments with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. In just a few months, I was able to reverse high blood pressure, gastric reflux, sleep apnea, arthritis, degenerative disc disease, heart arrhythmia, AFib, and many more. And I've lost over 70 pounds and kept it off. Now I'm hosting a radio program that's dedicated to helping my listeners do the same. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you're sick of being used as an ATM by your doctor, then you'll want to tune into the Your DIY Health radio program here on Truth Frequency Radio every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern and 6 to 8 a.m. Pacific.
No hype, no fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us as we are on to our final half hour of Jeranism Monday Night Raw, which it's not just any normal Monday either, as I've already mentioned.
Just another manic Monday. I wish it was Sunday.
Oh.
No.
Thanks, babe.
Sorry, it was the quickest one for me to get to.
That was rude.
It was funny. Hello. If you want to know what Miss and I spent the commercial doing, we spent it trying to tie knots with our tongue of a cherry stem, and we went 0 for 2.
Yeah, I bent mine in half.
She did bend hers in half.
Yep.
Mine started to fall apart and get gross, so I had to spit that out.
And I'm pretty sure we're eating GMO cherries.
Pretty sure that I'm impressed with anybody who can do that, because I certainly cannot.
Our cherries have some deformities to them.
Yeah, our cherries are like double cherries. I think they're kind of.
I think they were either pulled too early before they could split into two. Like Siamese twins. Like they didn't have enough time.
They
to
were
separate.
conjoined cherries.
They didn't have enough time to separate.
Yeah, it was pretty. But anyway, if you can do the cherry tying, congratulations.
Yeah, I'd like to hear if you can because
a better person
I guess
than Miss
someone
and
could
I.
call in and lie and say that they can.
That's true. But if that makes them feel good, go ahead. Call in and tell lies to the world.
No.
See if, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. See what happens.
Not if it makes you feel good.
Well,
If it
but
makes
the
you
thing
feel
is,
terrible.
karma will come around. And I don't know what happens if you do that, but it will get you.
If you lie about tying a cherry stem,
And you got problems.
then this karma will come back 10 times harder.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's go to the phones. We got calls. We got one from North Carolina, perhaps. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from? What's going on? How are you? And everything
Holy
like that.
cow.
Yes, Jake from North Carolina again. I want to answer the question about the eye color, and I think you'll love it. I have hazel eyes, first of all, and actually my eyes are blue. They're not hazel, and I'll tell you why. I have this goldish brown color in the lower part of my left eye. That's because I have a pellet halfway through my leg and my lower leg. That color was not there until that happened. It's called the study of iridology. Anytime something happens to your eye, to your body, any part of your body, any organ, any bone, it shows up in your eye. It'll be an open lesion, and you can take a magnifying glass and you can look. It'll be an open lesion. It'll be
The only reason I kind of believe what you're saying is because your teeth do coincide with different parts of your body.
Yeah.
Like if you have a toothache on your upper left third tooth.
Then it's like a bad kidney or something.
Let me give you one you can prove. You know anybody with a heart problem? Anybody?
My grandpa.
Okay. I want you to look in his left eye, get you a magnifying glass. Look in his left eye, and if you were to put a clock on his eye, if you put like 1, 2, 3, 4, just like a clock, each one of those points in that color part of the eye corresponds with organs and parts of the body.
I like it.
Now, if you look, so if you look, and I have this, I had a heart murmur, and I'm looking at my left eye right now. If you look in your left eye, and you look at, I think it's 9 o'clock, so you'd be looking towards your left ear. You wouldn't be looking towards your other eye. The part of the color part of your eye, I think at 9 o'clock, that will be an open lesion. Now, if you're healthy in that area, there should be a line, a straight line from your pupil to the outside of your eye. If you have wide openings in those lines, because they go all the way around, if you have wide openings, you're getting unhealthy. If they're tight, you're healthy. If they're open lesions, it looks like craters in there, then something happened. Okay, something catastrophic happened to you. The outer rim of the color part of your eye, that is your skin. If there's a thick layer, it's real dark, and the color does just go all the way to the out part of your eye, then you are toxic. Okay? So you can clean your body, and you can rid your body of toxins, and that will go away. So if you have hazel eyes, you have something that's happened to a bone, an organ, muscle tissue, nerves, anything like that. You'll have a color change. You'll have an open lesion, a widening of those lines that should be tight and straight. And as far as the brown, blue, green goes, there's so many different shades of blue. There's bluish gray. There's all kinds of shades of blue. But there's blue, and this is my theory on this, and then I'll give you some scientific information. My theory is the people at higher altitudes, when the people were living as tribal people, we're all mixed all over the earth now. But when people were tribal, and you can say from the Christian standpoint, they were separated tongues, whatever. So they're living on their own like Native Americans here. Okay? Then I believe people in higher altitude had blue eyes. And I believe it's because of their atmosphere, the surroundings around them, what they seen. The color they mostly seen was blue, and all kinds of different shades of blue. Now, the people in the Mediterranean, they seen all kinds of green around them all the time. This affected them. It makes you who you are. The eyes are the window to your soul. So brown is a very dominant color in the study of iridology.
All right.
Now,
so
when you study that, if you...
Well, I got other calls, and I know you're kind of repeating what you said before. Think of another way to describe it, and then call back next week and give it to me again, because I would still say what you're saying is not convincing enough. You need to
brown and blue-eyed people.
That's what he believes.
Brown and blue-eyed people in your family. Brown and blue-eyed people in your family. I'm gonna explain that real quick right now. Brown is a very dominant
30
color.
seconds.
We've been mixed all over the world. Brown is a very dominant color. And if you have anybody in your background with a brown-colored eye, you could end up with blue or brown. So now it's, see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's easy. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks
So
a lot,
yeah,
guys.
I appreciate it, and call back next week.
Yeah.
Come up with like a
Yeah, man.
2-minute spiel.
Yeah, man.
I would love to hear it, because I think
I do think that the whole idea of whatever's going on with your eyes, maybe that's the indication of something going on. I have a feeling that might be correct, because the teeth thing is absolutely true.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yep.
Let's go to our next caller. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from? What color are your eyes?
Hey, my name's David, and I have brown eyes.
All right, David.
Sweet.
I just wanted to let you know that Tesla's Apple has mimicked the Earth.NoSchool at the
Really?
equidistant map. Yes.
What? No way.
Wait, and it works
And
with
it
the.
is-
Go ahead.
His prediction is just the AE map, and it is current data. You can compare the two, and he's using some feed from their website. So
Sweet. What site is that? Because he was talking to me about it in Skype for a while, but I haven't seen him tell me. Wait, did he give me a link to it?
just teslasapple.com, and there's a tab on the left side.
I got it. teslasapple.com/earth.numschool.asp. Wait, is this it? Tesla's Apple, and then on the side, earth.numschool. He changed the name a little bit. Let's see, is this the one? All right, well, that's awesome. Wait, it's not coming up for me. Wait, below is a changelog. No, currently under construction, function limited. He might be still working on it, but it's getting close, hopefully. Oh, no, this looks like, here it is. You're absolutely right. It looks like it's working.
Cool.
Wow, that's awesome. Tesla's Apple, you rock. Because I know he was having trouble getting it to connect with real-time data.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Great call out. I'm stoked.
Cool beans.
Anything else? Anything else you want to say? You want to shout out to your friends and family all listening?
Oh, the one.
No, I think that's about it. But great work on what you guys are doing, and I enjoyed your last video, and keep it up.
Appreciate that a lot. Thanks so much. Let's go to the next call. We'll mow on through these. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
Hello.
Hello. And what color are your eyes? I forgot.
Mine are brown.
Me too.
Like a golden.
I always thought it was boring, me
It is
having
kinda
brown
boring.
eyes.
Brown hair, brown eyes.
Mine are like a yellow brown, like a goldish brown.
Okay, now.
Oh,
Okay,
interesting.
Well,
Well, mine are
silver.
like-
I'm just kidding.
Mine are like
And I am one of those people. I am one of those people that can tie a cherry stem with my tongue.
Damn you.
Oh, man.
What is there a secret? Do you, like,
So what do? You use your teeth and your tongue, or what?
what is the secret?
Well, the secret is you use your tongue and kind of the roof of your mouth, and you get it crossed. Then you have to like kind of bend it and tuck it.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
Then when your finishing product to tie it is you grab one end and then you hold the other end with your tongue and you like pull it as you pull it out of your mouth.
Oh, so it's like a trick. So you're not tying the knot in your mouth. As you pull it out, it's tying.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Interesting.
I know what we're doing tonight.
Learning how to. Awesome.
Well, I love your guys' show. Just wanted to call and say hello. I listen every Monday night.
Well, thank you. That's awesome.
You guys are awesome.
You're the one person. Well, we appreciate
Anyway,
that so much.
I was calling
go ahead.
calling to just say hello, and I don't really have much to say except for I can tie a cherry stem with my tongue.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you for showing us up and making us feel inadequate. We appreciate that.
And thanks for listening.
You guys will have to practice tonight.
We will practice it. Thanks so much. We appreciate that call.
Oh, before you take the next call.
Yes.
I have a better answer for that question you asked me earlier.
Whether or not
I would take the chip in my hand, right?
Tell me about it.
So they would come to the door, and they would say, "Hello, we're so-and-so government officials who are the authority over your life," right? And then
Would they say that?
And then I would say, "Oh, please come in." I would welcome them into my home.
Okay.
Unbeknownst to them, I have guns in my bedroom, right? And maybe an army waiting for them. No, just guns. And that if they proceeded, we would sit down in the living room and like chit chat, and then they would bring up what it is that they want to do. And then they would say, if I said, "Oh, I don't know about that," they're like, "Well, you will die if you don't," or whatever they'll say, like threaten me. If they threaten me to the point where they're like, "Okay, we're gonna shoot you if you don't take this into your wrist," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, get off my property." And then if they don't, then I could shoot them, and it's self-defense.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
All right then. That was the last time I answered questions for you.
I like your first answer better because the second answer seemed way too far-fetched.
Yeah, but
I don't picture
having the government come into my house is far-fetched to put a chip in my wrist. So I had to give a far-fetched answer.
Oh. Them coming in is far-fetched. At the door, I could see it. They show up with like Dr. Kevorkian.
Yeah, but if they come in and you're nice and you fan like I guess you could say lure them in, and then if they threaten you and you shoot them, then you don't get charged with murder because it's self-defense in your home. They were threatening me, officer or judge, whatever.
I'm not sure you can invite somebody in your house, then kill them and say it's self-defense.
You can if they're threatening you.
Oh. After you invited them in?
Yeah, because you didn't know they were going to threaten you.
This is crazy.
Okay, all right. I just thought I would be a little more creative with my answer.
I like mini soundboard. It's really fun.
Yeah.
You don't get one because you can't be on the internet at the same time.
No, because I would do it correctly, and we can't have that.
Excuse me. Mine has been very correct, I think.
Other than the Werner von Braun one, but we'll just skip over that one.
Well, that was a guess. We said that we were going to guess what it was, remember?
And if you have a dog, and you guys and you take them for walks, and if you have bunnies that are wild, don't let them chase them at first, because then once they realize that they can't catch them, then they get really depressed and pretend like they don't see them anymore.
This is true. We take a walk every night with our dog, and we had so much fun for 2 weeks because the dog would chase after the bunnies
and get really tired.
And it was great and fun to watch. We would actually say, "Go get that bunny," and then he would chase him. Now he wants nothing to do with the bunnies.
He pretends like he doesn't see him. Like, "Oh, what do you mean? There's a bunny over there? Oh,
I'm not going after that
sure."
thing. I never can catch him. It's worthless. He's like the Joe Rogan. Like, well, it's just worthless anyway. What's the difference? Like, let's go to the calls. We got another caller here, I think. I believe so. This person. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
I'm from Shelby, North Carolina.
What's up, Shelby? How's it going?
What's up, Shelby?
Shelby,
Great.
North Carolina.
And my eyes are
Oh yeah, please, sir. Hazel.
Now, what is hazel is defined as what, like a greenish blue, or is that turquoise?
No, greenish blue.
Hazel's like
your eyes are two colors. It's when you have like brown and green or whatever.
So are you one of those people that if you wear a green shirt, they look green, and if you wear a brown shirt, they look brown?
Are you one of those kinds?
Yeah, kinda.
Jeez, those people.
I love those.
I don't got anything like that. Unless I can put on like black shoes when I wear black pants.
And then they match.
That's about the extent of my abilities. So what's up?
I just wanted to call and say hi. How are you? Do you know who this is yet?
It's Karen B.
Is it really?
Took me a
You
second.
sound really different.
Took me a second there.
What? That's not you. You're someone lying.
Say it again. Talk again.
It's totally me. I wanted to say hi to Missa because I haven't got a chance to talk to Missa yet, and so hi, Missa.
Hi. That's so cool. We were just listening to your video yesterday, and that's why I didn't recognize your voice. Maybe I don't know, maybe because the phone call.
Oh, really?
Although we both thought you sounded very seductive.
You
in that
sounded.
video.
I felt like you were taking off my pants in that video. It was like,
little bit.
whoa, there. No. Like, okay.
That's hilarious.
It was really good. It was
Very
cool.
good. So what's up? How are you?
Well, thank you.
Aren't you on the East Coast?
I'm good.
She's in North Carolina.
Yeah, I am.
Here,
I am
damn
on the East
midnight
Coast.
there, you know?
Shelby, North Carolina.
Oh, wait, North Carolina.
Just like,
Wait, is that where you live?
Yes, that's where I live. I used to live by
how
you,
far-
but now
how
I
far
live
do you have
over
to go?
here.
So how long was your trip to the conference?
It was like 2.5 hours.
That's not bad. Okay.
that's
As long as you weren't like in the same town, I'd be pretty pissed.
Why?
That's not fair. I had to travel across the country, and she just gets to get up
What do you mean
and
not fair?
walk across the street, and she's there.
Oh boy, she used to live here. She said.
Where did you live here in the Bay Area?
Well, I actually grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and then I was living in Sacramento for a while. But yeah, I lived in California most of my life.
It's pretty nice.
It's really funny because that one time when you were doing that video where you were talking about like the experiment on the Delta.
Yes.
That long stretch of land right there. Like I lived in a house in West Sacramento that was like on the map when you were showing it. I was like, oh my God, my house was right there. I can't believe it. Like, why did I have to leave there? And now they want to do cool stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of good places around here. We've been talking about some experiments
That's so cool.
recently that, there's lots of cool little waterways here. Most of them are like in that 2 to 3 mile range, which is probably a little short.
And we only started looking at doing experiments in that area after Karen B moved, though. That was the reason why we decided to start doing
we're like, when she's
experiments.
gone, we'll go ahead and do experiments here now. No, and we still want to go back. We really want to go back to the Monterey Bay because we have that location. I'm not sure there's a better location to do 25 miles from Monterey to Santa Cruz. There should be, I think it's 400 feet of drop. So, I mean, and really, from Lover's Point, you're like, what, 40 feet high?
Yeah, maybe.
And I'm at like 10 feet high on the other side. And I think you'll easily be able to see that. And it's, with that, if you factored that in, the drop is probably 300 feet. But we really want to get back over. It just sucks. We moved away from the beach, and now we want to go back there. So
that's how it works.
Lots of experiments to do. I think there's some of those that are going to be the big proofs. I still think that the fact that we see too far is the number one thing.
Yeah, the fact that we can see trillions of miles is amazing.
I agree, 100%. 100%. And
it's probably everywhere.
You know what's crazy,
probably
too, is like,
over.
Yeah, well, like where I live here in North Carolina, it's actually really hilly and there's lots of trees and there's really not a lot of places to do good, like level long distance shots here. Like I have to go to the beach to do that.
Right.
But, and I thought about this after the fact, like when I saw you start talking about your laser experiment, I was like, dude, California, the layout of California and like the difference of terrain there is like the best state that I can think of to do long distance tests on land.
We're right here in the
valley, the big
Central
long
Valley.
flat valley, and then you've got mountains. Got mountains on the west. They're not very big mountains by the coast, but there are mountains there, like Mount Diablo and all that. And then you've got the Sierras on the other side, and then like
you can see 'em.
Tahoe is right there, which is like 24 miles long. Like.
Yeah.
California is a great place to do stuff like that.
Yeah, there's Mono Lake, which is real near us
on the
now.
Bay, and like on the bay from like, from bridge to bridge. I mean, it's a great place to do stuff like that.
And you're right here in the Central Valley, it is flat left and right as far as you can see. It just is crazy. And then yesterday we were driving and you could see the mountains to the east that are the low ones that are kind of normal. And if you really have the clearest day, yesterday was getting close to being clear enough, but I could see yesterday the snow on the top of the Sierras. Barely. You can't see the mountains, but you can see the snow. And some days we've seen that you can see those mountains. I mean, that is so far away. There's no reason you should be seeing those.
So far.
And I just was reading, who sent me? Somebody sent me a document today from an Antarctic. It was kind of like a warning to people traveling to Antarctica, but it said, be careful because the air is so clean down here and there's no dust that you can see things for long distances. And then it says that mountains have been spotted from 300 miles away.
Alrighty then. So
in
they're
a
saying,
government
be careful,
document.
you'll hallucinate or something?
No, they're just in a government document saying that it's so clear in Antarctica that mountains have been seen from 300 miles away, which completely debunks the globe.
Interesting.
If you can see mountains, unless you believe in the magic of refraction, which magically lifts things up, erases the fact that they're miraged, clears up the image, displays them up on top of the horizon for you. It's very cool.
No, it's your pod. It's your personal atmospheric dome.
Pad.
Oh, yeah.
Really got to think of a new name for that.
Oh, man. I liked that one. Oh, man.
It's pod, personal atmospheric dome.
Aw. Now I'm really sad that Karen doesn't like it. Well, we also listened to you when you were on.
I did like it.
You were on the Flat Earth podcast, and that was really good.
That was a good episode.
I was just like go, girl. You go do that. That's good. You're doing so good. That's awesome.
It's a tough show with
representing
with,
the ladies.
Weiss on the other end is not easy.
No.
All right. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, it was good to talk to you. Effie Mishka wants to talk to you.
Excuse me?
I'm told to tell you that Mishka's calling in.
Who's
Michelle.
that?
Oh, Michelle Gens. I see her on
sorry.
there.
I was like, who's Mishka?
Yeah,
I'll pick her up.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thanks, girl.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Hey, it was good talking to you. Take care, Missa.
You
Good
too.
talking to you.
We'll talk to you. She's going
Are
to
you
meet you
gonna-
in Denver.
In November.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
And Michelle Gens, are you on the line?
I am. How are you?
All right.
Good. You seen any astronauts doing any cocaine lately?
Yeah, I just did a
my
bump up
Lord.
one a minute ago.
Oh shoot! Oh shoot!
What's up?
Just kidding. Just kidding. Well, first off, I wanted to say hi to Missa. I've never gotten to meet her, obviously, but big fan.
Oh, hi.
And also for Missa, Team Yanni all the way.
Thank you. But
Very
I need to tell. I need to say something.
Yeah.
though.
Wait a second. There's news on the front.
I
There's
need
news on the
to
front.
say this because this I think it had to do with the speakers when we okay. So first I heard it on Jeran's phone. He played it for me, and clear as day, I couldn't even believe that he heard anything other than Yanni. I was like, totally Yanni. At first I thought it was yummy or Yanni because I didn't want to think about the words that he told me. I just wanted to listen and hear what I heard or whatever.
Yeah.
But then he played it again, and he had it like half of his speaker was covered on his phone by his hand or something, and it said the word, I heard Lauren first, and then when it started repeating the word, then it said Yanni, 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 Yanni. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Why did I hear Lauren or whatever? Was it Lauren? Laurel. And then
Laurel,
you played it on the laptop. And the laptop, when it played, it was clear as day, a male's voice saying Laurel. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Why do I now hear Laurel?
Which we then watched some explanation video, but it was interesting because the guy said anybody who can hear Yanni can be taught to hear Laurel,
Or
but nobody
can eventually hear it. Not
yeah,
taught to, but-
no, but can kind of eventually hear both. But nobody who can hear Laurel will be able to hear Yanni because you're not able to hear that high of a tone.
It's like a robotic voice when they say it. Yeah.
Very interesting stuff.
But still, Team Yanni first.
Team Yanni sucks.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. My boyfriend did the same thing. He turned down, I don't know, he changed the frequencies on it, and I was kind of able to hear it, but I'm still convinced.
That is really weird, though. I mean, to have somebody, David Weiss sent it to me first, and he said, my girlfriend says she hears Yanni. I hear Laurel. What the hell is going on? And I'm like, what? Yeah, right. That's not even possible.
Yeah.
And then I heard it and heard what I heard. So that's clearly Laurel. And then I said, Missa, listen to this. Tell me what you hear.
And
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, how can you possibly hear something different?
Yeah.
And I was like with him, I was like, you did not hear Laurel. There's two totally different vowels going on. Like, no.
I texted my friend and gave him the link, and then I said, what do you hear? He says, clearly Laurel. I'm like, well, Missa says she hears Yanni. He's like, she just wants to be different, dude. That's what I'm like, no, it's not like that.
He's like, she just wants to be different than you. That's all. I'm like, no, I don't
No, it's not the way it works.
That's funny.
So you can do another
I can believe it.
meetup in Sacramento area?
Yeah, I want to. I was thinking maybe in July, like maybe early or mid-July-ish, because my birthday is the 22nd, and that whole weekend I'm going to be busy. But I wanted to do maybe one, right around there.
Are we allowed back at that place?
July.
Are we allowed back, man?
I gotta check. I think we are. I'm pretty sure. But yeah,
Everything was good until the end when somebody
decided to get racist.
Somebody got racist and drunk, and that usually equates in getting punched, which it did. So things happen.
It's exciting.
Not me, don't worry.
Yeah,
exciting times with flat.
Yes. So that it was a good time. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate that so much.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. I'd love if you could come to the next one. And it was. Well, oh, you know what? I signed up on this Meetup app. Actually, there's a whole map of all these different meetups, and I was gonna put it on there for the next one and see if that gets any hits.
They're flat Earth meetups, or you mean there's just any kind of meetup?
Well, you can create a
no,
meetup.
they're just like
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. You can create one and put it on there. So next time I'm definitely going to utilize that.
Is it called Facebook?
No, it's not called Facebook.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you guys listening as always. Until next time. Peace.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for
Widening probe, the Santa Fe shooting. I'm Ann Cates. The Justice Department will expand an investigation to determine whether a spy was planted in the Trump campaign. Correspondent